All right, episode 137 of the BIC podcast. And on this episode, Eric is trifling with forces he cannot control. More on that in this episode. And amongst that, we're back with a regular episode this week. Last week, obviously, we had a very special week of programming because the regular recording actually was a Friday live on a Monday. It's true. But now we're back with a regular recording schedule on the regular day. So this will drop on the Tuesday and we'll have the regular things. We've got a couple of things that came in. We've got a couple of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the scandalousness of the big drop of autograph memorabilia. All your autographs are fake. Even the autographs that were signed in front of you are fake. The autographs you thought about were fake. And those autographs, they're fake too. Wait, that autograph? Fake. That and more on this episode of the BSC podcast. Yes, under the watchful eyes of Brett Favre, who would never give us fake autographs. Just welfare fraud. Like a reasonable person. Like a not swell fella. That's how it's done.
He knew where the line was drawn and he wouldn't cross it.
That's right. Welfare fraud, yes. Fake autographs, no.
Well, he knew that he had to sign legitimate autographs on those checks to commit said fraud.
Yeah.
That's right. We all got a line. And the not so fella knew where that line was done.
That's
how
right.
it is. All right, a couple of things we're going to talk about, so I'll get caught up. We've got some comments from last time around. We'll give you the results of the silly card of the week. We'll give you a couple of new candidates. This time we have a full thing. Also, a quick side note, I want to give congratulations to Michael, the Grinder Mizraki, who won the main event of the World Series of Poker. We didn't get the chance to talk about it on last week's episode because we didn't have last week's episode. And I had made mention of Michael Mizraki. This obviously isn't a new pickup, but it's still worthwhile for me to quickly go over it again. Funny enough, good timing for me, I suppose, that I was able to acquire said card from the Razor poker set of Michael Mizraki. This is the same individual who won the 2025 World Series of Poker main event. Also won Player of the Year from the World Series of Poker, and was elected into the Poker Hall of Fame. All in the same shot.
He's a Hall of Famer before you, Eric.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't want to be a Hall of Famer. I want to be Hall of Fame adjacent.
And the dream does still live.
I know. Listen, I know where my ceiling is, and I don't want to burst through it. I just want to get to it. And my ceiling is Hall of Fame adjacent. All right. I make it there. I've done something with my life. So, but looking at that picture, I can't take anyone serious who wears their hat like that.
Do we really have to find pictures of you to point out that you should not be a person that would tell anyone about me taking seriously?
First of all, I am nonsense purified.
Incarnate would have been good. That would have been a good word to use.
That is my shtick, and I don't want anyone else trying to one up me. And him wearing that hat like a dope, he's trying to one up me, and I won't tolerate it.
Does it help that he won $10 million?
It does, and it'll help more if he gives me some.
I see. More on that story coming up. But for now, we'll stick with congratulations nonetheless. Turned out, again, good news. Hopefully, so now I don't know if that card's going to go up in value or not, but it's good news. I was able to buy a cheap, Brandon. That's all I care about. I got a cheap for my set. We're good. But nonetheless, congratulations to him on that. Going to go over a couple of comments from last episode, and then we'll also talk about a couple of things. We obviously did do the Hobby Palooza thing. We'll chat on that for a couple of minutes, and then I think the main segment will be talking about the big fake autograph scandal that has rocked the hobby, or at least YouTube thumbnails. At least if nothing else, YouTube thumbnails have been rocked this week on these revelations, scandalousness. And we'll talk a little Hobby Palooza results as well. And we are approaching the National, so next week's episode will be the pre-National episode, and I want to share with you all and announce fully, no one on the screen is going to the National.
No.
Should we give our shoe recommendations, though?
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, quick side story. I'm glad you brought this up. Quick side story. I won't spoil it if they are going to do it. I did receive a DM from someone else who makes the YouTube videos, and I had actually pitched them. They actually do have a background in shoes and shoe collecting, and they said, you know what, Carlos, I might take you up on it, and I might do a shoe ranking. And I was like, yes. So if it all comes to pass, Brandon, that is where my influence has been used for good. This was the moment. This was it right here. So if it comes to pass, I will share that link so that people can enjoy the shoe ranking. We all need this. This is what we needed.
Yeah, we do.
So glad you brought it up. So yes, indeed. But alas, none of us will be at the national. However, the regular standard, not national coverage, like Shark Week, but lamer, will still be happening on the channel. So the BIC channel will still be there at the forefront of not national coverage that week.
I hope so.
No doubt. All right. So first off, from last episode, Zach was first out of the block. Says sellers can have a bunch of auctions. I'll buy one and then buy others for the combined shipping rate. But if I don't win one, I don't buy the others. It would suck if the card. So this is relating to the whole extended bidding thing. That's what we were talking about on the last episode. I would suck if the card I really want to get caught in extended bidding, while others I would buy only if that one was only if I won that are going off. So in terms of combined shipping, the implications were if you were buying a bunch of stuff all at once, the combined shipping thing, and then you get stuck in extended bidding with one, but the whole point was to get the whole lot of them, and now you've got this extra stuff in there, that could be an issue. Sniping doesn't bother me as everyone has access to it. It sometimes amuses me when people on Facebook start going off about sniping as if it's a new thing. It's been around for at least 20 years that I know of, quite a while. So it's available to everyone in that sense, so it doesn't bother me. It's not like it gives anybody an unfair advantage that isn't available to other people. Also, if you make the high bid, you make the high bid. However you do it, it's still a high bid. eBay can play around with extended bidding on big items, but I don't see it being on the widespread thing on every auction. Seems like such a drastic change, so we'll see. Appreciate the comment, Zach. Mike Ham here.
I just, again, just to reiterate my stance, you want to wait there with your finger on the computer keyboard. 3, 2, 1, hit. You're all good. And again, Carlos uses it, and we just have a difference of opinion. That's all, and that's fine. I don't like the sniping software. I think that's bullshit. So I am not a fan of that.
I actually dove into it a little bit because I wasn't 100% sure of the rules, but it's actually legal, and eBay states it in their policies that it is okay to use third-party sniping bid tools. So
it's always been.
I wasn't sure if they had anything in there because sometimes
the system.
Murky, but...
so just so we're clear, using the machine doesn't change anything about the bidding. All it does is places a bid, and the bid itself is whatever the bid would have been. If you were sitting there manually doing it, it would be the exact same thing, except you're an idiot because then you have to sit there and wait for it to go. It's like, well, if you're busy, you get distracted or whatever, you don't make a bid if you're trying to snipe.
I understand I understand the flip side of the coin. That's why, you and I haven't, got into an actual fight about it because 1, I understand the flip side of the coin. 2, I know it's, as Brandon says, I know it's quote legal, allowed within the parameters of eBay. That's fine. I'm not going to fight, get into an argument with anyone about it. My opinion is I don't like it. I don't think I should have to mega bid every single thing. Because what if, you try to get a $10 card and you mega bid it for 100 to make sure you get that $10 card, and some other idiot threw in a mega bid, and someone's got sniping software with a mega bid. Next thing you know, I just can't do that. I can't risk spending $100 or plus because of sniping software or my mega bid so I can get a $10 card.
Your problem there, Eric, was the mega bid. The mega bid implies that you are willing to pay up to the mega bid. That's the point of the mega bid.
Supposed to beat sniping software at the last minute.
The sniping software doesn't increase the amount that the other person was bidding. The bid is the same. If they bid 6 months, if they bid like with 6 hours to go and you mega bid, we're still in the same situation.
Eric, serious question. What $10 cards are there not others available, like even with a $10 buy it now that you couldn't just go buy? Except for your Reggie 101s, like the Leprechaun cards and stuff.
First of all, just be careful. Just be careful with the Reggies. Just the first warning, okay? Just be careful. And second, that was just an example, jackass. This is why everyone calls you.
I was just asking.
This is why everyone calls you an ass, and no one likes you.
Others available.
This is why your mom had to buy friends for you when you were little, because no one likes you because you're an ass.
My mom didn't buy me anything.
I was gonna say, did we have currency at that time? Like, how long are we talking about? Shiny rocks? What are we doing? See, your story falls apart, Eric, because we know that's not possible.
Mom, where'd the family goat go? Shut up and go play with your new friend Tommy.
Yeah. No, that surely wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm. All right. Can I go to the next comment now? I'm going to the next comment. All right. So next one was Ham. It says, Mike Ham. Mike, I'm curious how many non-paying winners will happen during the process. I really like it. The whole point of an auction is getting your bid in before the time ends. Should push more buy it now style auctions. Responder, Bobbles and Ball Card says. The automated payment system has actually improved a lot. Most of the issues I see occur on international buyers and on the rare occasion someone that has a bad payment method on file. But most of all of those pay after getting the eBay notice of payment failed. Let's see here. I noticed the other day after winning auction, there was a countdown before automatic payment kicks in. This is Ham responding. I could see that as an opportunity to state that your child accidentally bid on something. Could be. So we'll definitely see what happens with it. Victor, Rookie Card Specialist, says, let's go. Bobbles, you nailed it, brother. There you go. You got that. And lastly, Dan's Vintage Baseball PC says, I'm recusing myself from the voting this week, the silly card of the week that week, because of my contribution, even though obviously the huge glove Arrigo card was going to win. Alas, it did not. We did cover that, though. Alas, it did not. Clearly, conspiracy. But it is what it is. So, thank you all for the comments. We wanted to make sure we acknowledge those. I got that in there. Now, speaking of, since that last comment did make reference to it, we do have the results of this past week's Silly Card of the Week. So we've got.
I bet I know who won.
I didn't even vote for myself. So if anyone voted for me, they're an idiot.
Well, unfortunately, 17% did. But I will give you the full results.
Idiots.
Yes. But I will give you the results here so you can see them for yourself. And let me share it with you right now. So here they are. So the result was 83% of the Upper Deck Fashion Statement and 17% of the Futurist. 29 votes this week. Hopefully we can top that this week here. Remember, it is the truly true democracy in this world.
Yeah.
We did also have another community post as well for the Hobby Palooza thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that was one of the things that basically comes up with a lot of those is that we had a second post because we wanted to make sure that we directed people. Since it was a charity thing, we wanted to make sure we directed people towards the Hobby Palooza thing. We'll talk about that again in a moment. But that was the last week's results. Now for this week's Silly Card of the Week, quickly I'll touch on it here. Sponsored by our friends at AMG Collectibles. AMGcollectibles.ca, AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. The podcast episode will drop once again this week. I will be with Collector the Scallops, Collector the People Steve. I don't think there's any new products specifically that are coming in this week. So I think mostly we'll be looking at cards that came in the store and a couple of other things. We'll give everybody reminders about the month end where you're going to have a trade night and card show. That's always there at the card shop. Links in the description to everything. So we'll make sure we touch on that. So that'll be the other podcast episode that drops on Wednesdays. So we thank AMG for supporting the channel, the podcast, and everything else we do. First, Silly Card of the Week this week. Speaking of the past, Brandon, this one's all you. Your contemporary, your homie, a good friend of yours, George Washington.
So, I decided today, while I was busy at my desk, being productive and working, that I was going to undertake the task of listening to the 6-hour and 11-minute live stream for Hobby Palooza. And I made it all the way through. And there was a section there that said something about Bobbles isn't here and, Bob Jackson, commenter of the channel, friend of the channel.
No, he isn't.
Said that I probably have George Washington's rookie card. And then there was a debate about rookie cards or first cards, that sort of thing, that also took place during this time period of the segment, the 6 hours of length. And so I thought this card fit perfectly because, yes, Bob, according to Trading Card Database, tcdb.com, this is technically referred to as the George Washington rookie card. And I do own it. I also have Abe Lincoln from the same set. But anyway, and then to just throw a little bit
after he got shot, it's really not a good picture.
Well, just to throw a little bit out there, and Victor, also friend of the channel, yes, I got it right last time. This throws a little bit of mud on the whole thesis of the rules of the rookie card, because this came out 100 years after George Washington passed away. So obviously this shouldn't be his rookie card. but it's his first. So, still up for debate. I just thought I'd have some fun. Screw you, Bob.
That's my boy.
It all comes together. It all comes together. By the way, bonus points.
Vote for George.
The best part is that bonus points that is actually reasonably centered. Corner notwithstanding, it's actually got decent centering.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. Next up, Eric.
Yeah.
What say you?
I did not know this human being existed, but when I ever saw that this man's first name is Six Toe, I decided that needs to be in the silly card of the week category. I also demand an investigation into whether or not this man had 6 toes on either foot. I think it's important for all humanity to know the answer to this. So,
all humanity.
Yes, 6 toe here, played for the Brewers in the 70s, it seems, and I saw it and I just could not shake it. And I actually went back through the box, got it, and said, okay, I got to take a picture of this. Now, baseball fans and baseball collectors may have known of this man's existence for many, many years. I did not know this human being existed until recently. And again, saw it, moved on, and said, I can't move on. I went back, found it, and took the picture. So, yes, there is a human being out there with the first name of 6 Toe. And that is him.
A couple of things. First of all, so just point of order, it's a 1978 Topps card. Second of all, Eric, when you go to work and supposedly work, do you do any dusting or sweeping? Because this is just horrific. Like, look at this corner.
It's
like,
yeah.
Has this ever seen like a cloth or?
Yes.
Joe Thornton hasn't been there.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I do try to keep things clean. They get filthy very quickly. Yes, that is very dusty. That's under the glass on the end, and it is very difficult to get clean. And I've thought about bringing it before work starts, bringing in my air blower and try to do something about that. But I don't know how that would work out. So,
that's
two questions.
That's awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. And I'm sure if ever my employer stumbles upon this, they'd be really, really happy with you.
I am here for the details. Brandon, ask your questions.
Well, first, I wanted to see if Eric could slowly enunciate the last name.
Lescano.
And then I also had a question, and this is a serious one. What is the black stripe on his sleeve?
I assume someone must have died that year within the Brewers organization. That would be my guess. But I can. Lescano doesn't. That would never have caught my eye. But the man's first name is 6 Toe. And
what about Sixto Sanchez?
And that never heard of him either. But this needs to be addressed.
I see.
We need a Sixto in hockey so Eric can PC them.
Exactly.
Yes, I would start immediately.
Yes. Bonus points to getting a 54 Willie Mays, 54.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Do you put the cards in the case? Because I'm kind of surprised that there is ultra modern there with vintage.
I do not. I am in charge of the hockey stuff.
Indeed. Well, that's Eric's contribution. We'll include that as part of the community post. And last and certainly not least, Brandon may have seen it ahead of time, and I may have gone like, shh. Do not ruin this moment.
Yeah.
Our good friends at Upper Deck deliver again. I think it's time that I share the last piece of the puzzle here. It's time to collect the fork, Eric.
I saw this stupid thing on the Instagram.
Wow, Eric. Wow. Our good friends at Upper Deck. Everyone's personal friends.
Freaking believable.
So, for the upcoming This isn't, by the way, this one isn't coming up until a little bit later in the fall. August right now. Well, actually, no, late September, I think is the time frame for 2025 SP Game Used AEW. And now, as part of it, there is a redemption that will be included in this product for a 1-of-1 oversized match used relic card that contains a fork.
Oh my God.
That was used in the main event of the 2025 All In Texas match between Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley, where Hangman Adam Page was victorious and became AEW champion, and no less luminaries than one Billy Cilio was in attendance as this match concluded and probably claimed the fork.
Now, I assume that the fork was used to cut someone open, and there was probably some type of blood situation after the fork was used. Would that be accurate?
Well, as you can see in the picture in the corner, this is literally moments before Hangman stabs Jon Moxley in the head with said fork. So yes.
There's not 1 ounce of blood on that fork.
Well, if you look, this is a rendering that isn't even a real fork. Like, look at it. Look at the fork itself. It's suspended in space. That's an artist rendering of a fork.
Listen, I grew up watching this stuff in the 80s, and Ric Flair with that blonde hair turning red every single match, and barbed wire matches, and all sorts of stuff with the funks, and right. So I mean, I've seen some stuff. I don't know if I want to witness someone getting stabbed in the head with a fork. I don't know if I like that.
I did. I was good with it.
And how many times did he stab him in the head with the fork? Several?
Possibly a dozen times. Allegedly.
Well, yeah. But
I could recount it for you. We could.
No. I understand that there is some entertainment value, and it's not quote real, but the blood is real. And
well, Eric, I don't know what you're concerned with here. Like, if you would like, if it would set your mind at ease, I have been assured, I have offered, I've spoken to some people around here, and when you come up for the Toronto Expo in November,
here we go.
I can demonstrate this for you.
Would you?
And we can find out how many stabs it takes to the blood.
Okay,
I have a real serious hobby question.
Test dummy?
I've already got a dummy. His name is Eric. Go ahead, Brandon. What's your question?
Is this not like I see this as a one of a kind, right?
It is a one of one.
Will this be the first ever sports card that is released with a weapon included in it?
Well, in theory, yes. Although I guess that's debatable. Like, I get almost anything could be a weapon under the right circumstances, Brandon.
But this was used intent
as a weapon
to inflict damage.
Now, but I guess here would be my question though. Do you count it? Because in the same product, there are some cards, I believe, if memory serves me, that have pieces of steel chairs. So if you cut up the weapon, does it still count as a weapon? Or does it have to be a fully intact weapon?
How big is this thing going to be?
Well, think of a fork, and this is an oversized card. So think of a fork, and then it's encased, and then you've got space around it, obviously. So, it'll fit in a Beckett slab. It'll be fine.
That's what it deserves.
You imagine
it needs to go there.
It's going to make to house this thing?
Amazing.
The only way you're going to be able to display it is to put it in your driveway.
Fantastic. I love it.
It'll give a new meaning to dinner plate.
Oh, yes. My Lord.
Yes. With the fork. Listen, this is a legendary piece of material. This right here is a piece that came off of the biggest, North American AEW event that ever happened on my birthday, no less.
On your birthday.
I
gotta get it. Like, this is your grail.
Brandon, it would be. I just don't think I want to pay whatever somebody would pay. Listen, I would happily have it, but I'm sitting there like, I'm not paying that much. I'm not, whatever it is, it's probably more than I want to pay for a fork, is all I'm saying.
But it's a redemption, so you got to just.
Do we know if the fork is sterling silver?
What was that?
Do we know if the fork is sterling silver?
It's a valid question.
Because that could add a little bit of value to it.
There's a lot of questions we need to have. What level of fork did Tony Khan pony up for? These are important
Yeah, was
questions.
it like an Oneida? Was it from the Dollar
Mhm.
Tree? Is it
Mhm,
Sterling?
It was from the cafeteria at the arena.
It should have been a sport.
You think the cafeteria had a metal fork?
They must have one kicking around somewhere. I don't
Just
know.
saying. I'm wondering. By the way, in the match, John Moxley had a fork too, so there were 2 forks.
Oh, so do we know that this is the one that was actually used?
So in the subheading underneath it says Hangman attacks John Moxley with fork. So they're saying this is the Hangman fork that he stabbed Moxley with.
Do we get legitimate authentication with this?
We're going to need it. I'm going to have to talk to Spicy Eye. I'm going to need to know
the fork.
I need a full chain of custody.
Yeah.
From beginning from stab and crime scene all the way through to upper deck's possession.
Yeah.
We should get the Stanley Cup guy. He's good at taking care of stuff like this. Like he should be the one that personally escorts the fork.
White glove service, absolutely.
Fork card. That is my. As soon as I saw it, I was like, there is no other direction I can go on this. Plus, it's one of my AW things. I got to do it. It works out. All right, so those will be included in a community post. You can all select your favorite. Come on, fork. Let's go. Let's go. And look forward to the expo when again I demonstrate this on Eric. I can show him exactly how the fork thing works. Like we can find out, or we can find out together. I see nothing could possibly go wrong. So real quick, I will share. I did acquire. I picked up a handful of cards. I actually did achieve though this past week. I did have one of the rare occurrences that doesn't happen all the time. I actually had all my purchases in my eBay thing had all actually arrived, so I had no purchases I was waiting for. And I was like, oh wow. Usually it's like a rotation, right? Like as stuff is coming in, I find something else and I buy it. But I had a brief period for a couple of days there where I had actually everything had come in already, and I didn't have anything new. And I wasn't just going to buy something for the sake of buying something, but I did add one more. I was able to locate for a price that I was satisfied with. One of my personal favorites. It's a favorite of the channel. Everybody loves it. Brand new National Treasures Chosen Rosen. Let's go. Let's
With
go.
A 2-color sliver.
Yes. And this is, I think, the gold variant, number to 10. Moi, chef's kiss. Love it. Fabulous. So that's my contribution this week. A new Chosen Rosen added to the PC. Good times. I love it. I was also able to get a brand new Dentist PC card, but obviously I saved that for the wrestling channel. And I will say I was able to do a negotiation because they did pull the card and I was interested, but I had to wait a little bit. So when I actually get that one, ship my cards, I'll share it when I actually get it there. But I'll give you a little back and forth because it ended up being a thing where I needed to be a little bit patient. I needed to wait about a month and a half before we were able to complete the deal because initially they had they had hopes and dreams of what they were going to get. So we needed to wait until the price got to where I felt it was more appropriate. So it's one of those deals kind of things. So
was it the one that you put on Instagram?
Nope, not this one. Not yet.
Oh.
No, this one literally I just paid for it yesterday. So we were getting the deal finalized. We were working on. I had been in communication with the guy back and forth. It was all good. I was willing to be patient. I just needed him to let it sit there for a while, let people make offers and see basically what I was trying to say. I said, I don't think it's going to go for what you're hoping for, but I'll let it ride for a while and let's see what happens. So I was able to be patient, and patience was rewarded in this case. So we'll talk about it more when I get there. All right. So I know Eric has a bunch. Brandon, is there anything you want to share, or we're going to go straight to Eric?
I don't have anything this week. No.
All right, Eric, your moment. Here's your moment. Oh, let me go here. Click this one.
Oh, yeah. So we were very fortunate this week. We, picked up a large collection from a local collector and found a lot of really nice vintage of cards from all sports. And I've spent the last, 5 days sorting them out, going through them and putting them away. And I was lucky to find a bunch of hockey stuff. And I was able to, negotiate and purchase it from the shop. So these are like the 3 big ones. I got some other little stuff that, really doesn't really mean anything, but I thought these are the ones that I found to be the most interesting. I was most excited about. This is a 71 Panini Swedish Bobby Orr.
Swedish from Sweden.
It is in very, very, very good condition all around. So I did not have that in my collection. So I was very excited to see it. And immediately said, we're going to put that one aside for me. So we got the 71 Swedish Panini Bobby Orr. We have the second year card of John Busick, 1958. John Busick card. So we can get that going there a little bit. There we go. That's not too bad. Also, and it's in good condition for a 1958. No creases. Corners a little soft here and there, but still very, very, very good. Color is great. I was very happy when I saw this one. There's another one that I said, okay, we're gonna put that one aside. I love this comment, how it says, pals call him the Beast because he hits so hard. Now, that very well might be true, but I've been a hockey fan for a long time, and I've done a lot of historical reading, and I've met Mr. Busick on several occasions. And let me tell you, not one time in anything I've read, heard, or discussed have I ever heard anyone refer to Johnny the Chief Busick as the Beast. So that is news to me. So I found that to be interesting. This piece here is also pretty rare and hard to find, and it's an absolutely stellar shape. I'm not going to try to give it a grade, but it's as good as it's supposed to be. 1998-99 Topps Blast from the Past, Ray Bork rookie, and it is the refractor. There's a huge want for these. People go absolutely bananas for these. You can see the rainbow in there. I'm trying to tilt it with the light so you can see that it's a refractor. And it, like I said, the corners, there's no scratches. I think this pretty much came out of a pack and into something safe. So I was able to pick that up. And like I said, I know that there's a lot of people collecting these. So as soon as I picked it up, and I've seen the non-refractor ones a bunch, and I'm like, yeah, those are neat, and I probably even have some. But when I picked it up and I was sorting through and the light hit it and I saw the rainbow reflection, I double checked it, and it's very hard to see, but on the back here, it right above my finger, it says refractor on it. And once I saw that, I went, we're going to put that in the pile. So those are the three bigger ones that I brought home this week. So
there you go. Nicely done. Nicely done. Now I actually remembered because it actually came in the mail today. I did get one more thing.
Okay.
Not exactly card related, but I think it qualifies here.
Ah, yes, you got the Christmas card.
Yes. Nothing like Christmas in late July.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll tell the story on that. Just as with Eric's package that he received, we had prepared the Christmas cards. I had reached out and made sure I had everybody's addresses. My wife loves sending out Christmas cards. Obviously, she enjoys having people make silly Christmas cards. And Canada Post was on strike. So we actually had gotten the stamps and everything, and then I told her, oh crap, we can't mail them because Canada Post is on strike. And so they were sitting down on her desk, and yeah, so I dropped them on the mail, I guess last week probably, or maybe the week before, but yeah. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Indeed. Thank you. When I was looking, I was like, oh, is it a birthday card? And then I saw it, I was like, I see.
Even better, see?
The
Feliz
sparkly
Navidad.
snowman, the sparkly snowman, I think is not a birthday card.
I don't even remember what the cards look like.
I'm trying to find.
But I knew she had that made. This year, I think we're doing Star Wars. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Which is this?
She does. Yeah, that was another year.
A sparkly snowman. Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah,
So
Eric
that
has
that
the
technically,
SpongeBob one.
yeah.
I think this year
Technically
she's
that's a
planning
pickup, I
doing
suppose. Technically that
Star
is a pickup.
Wars. So
Yeah, technically that's a pickup. It did come in the mail, so we'll count it. We'll count it. So real quick then. All right, so let's quickly touch on. We'll touch on the Hobby Palooza thing for a minute here, since we talked about it. We did successfully have our live stream of modest length. You know, I don't know what Brandon's getting on, but it was a nice, tidy and succinct 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 9 seconds. Tidy and succinct, as you do. So we did manage that, and it was very good from that perspective. Good feedback on it. I got in quite a bit. So there it is right there. And as you can see, we had Rick Vintage Oddball Cards. We had the Burrell. Ham joined us as part of that. And there's also Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did have that. So regardless, I was highly entertained. I think, though, going into it, well, kind of what we talked about, it was just very funny. Discussing it going into it, it's like, you know, there was all this buildup and pressure, like, oh man, you know, it's going to go so long and everything. And I was thinking maybe like 4 or 5 hours, and I figured that'd be good. But then the conversation was going, and Ham and Bobby were having a spirited debate on the rookie card, which we could revisit at a later date. We're not going to bother with it right now. But they had a spirited debate. Got some feedback on that too. It was fun. Rick had some really nice stuff that he was able to showcase and display and show off. That was good. We talked about a lot. Everybody showed some really cool things that fit the homework, the theme that I had provided. So Ham had a bunch of different. He had an autograph helmet. He had, you know, a magazine. He had this. It did exactly what I was hoping for. Bobby brought some stuff as well. He brought some of his trinkets so that he could talk about those. So we had all that. So we had a nice mix of stuff, including a couple of cards and everything else. So it was very good. But yeah, the chat was engaged. Big time. So, and it was for charity. So happy to do that and participate in it. But I was saying to the guys before we recorded is that there is a level of diminishing returns. However, I was gratified to see that we still had quite a bit of chat participation, even at the tail end. The reality is that I felt like we had hit about where we wanted to hit, and it felt like we ended it on a good spot. Beyond that, it's just diminishing returns. I feel like we've set the bar at a number where it's really not necessary to beat that. If you really want to knock yourself out, but it will be to your detriment. Because you don't come back from that. You're not the same after that. You want to go into those deep waters? Do you really want to go into those deep waters? Just saying.
No.
But, you know, Eric, for them, it was a marathon live stream, the likes of which they had never seen. For me, it was a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we, on a serious note, have we heard about the financial numbers yet?
They went comfortably over 8,000.
So broke last year's record.
They broke last year's record, yes. And there is also some money that's going to be coming in from the Penny Sleever. So the Penny Sleever is one of the sponsors for that. Okay. And I believe 10% of anything that anybody bought during the festivities was going to be included as part of that as well. And there were also a couple of auctions that were done where some people donated some cards for auction. Okay. And I believe that money will also be included in it. So it would not shock me if they hit 10K.
Well, that would be fantastic. You know, and it's not too late, I'm sure, if people are interested in, you know, donating to signatures for soldiers and, you know, I'm sure there's still a way you can get your money in there. So I encourage everyone to do so if you haven't done it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it should be pretty good. Once they've got the totals finalized. I know on the last show they did go over and they were comfortably over 8K at that point, but then needed to add in all the rest of that stuff is just included as part of it as well. Gave away some prizes. So I expect when they get to the national, they're going to hand them the check. So I suspect they'll be able to probably it'll be pretty close to 10K. Wouldn't shock me if it was somewhere in that neighborhood. So clearly beat last year's totals. So manage that. Success, I would say.
All right.
Indeed.
Should I stop planning now for what we're going to do on New Year's for Ray Bork's charity? What should we do this year to raise money? We got to beat $300.
Ooh, what I'm thinking, Brandon, say it with me: kerosene and a match. I will donate $301 right now.
But I thought you were always waiting on Kenny to do that.
Kenny, Eric, it's all the same.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's all the same. It's fine. Kerosene and a match.
I don't want to set myself on fire.
Eric, was I saying you should set yourself on fire? I was implying it strongly. That's not the same as saying it. For legal purposes, I'm not liable.
I don't want to.
He could have been saying for you to be outdoors and have kerosene for a lantern or something because it was New Year's. And so, in Boston, it gets kind of cold around that time of year. So you had a
Yeah.
little bit of hot, heat.
Yeah,
You
Eric,
just
for
went
legal purposes.
directly to bad.
Yeah, for
We
legal
gotta-
purposes,
we gotta
Eric,
come up
that was
with
open to interpretation.
We got to come up with something. I mean, no one's going to want to watch me ride. No one wanted to watch me the first time, but no one's going to want to watch me ride a stationary bike again for 2.5 hours or whatever it was. So we got to come up with something else.
I think the biggest problem I think we have with the stationary bike is that at no point we were hoping for the crash and it just didn't happen. So I think maybe we need to arrange for the crash to happen, and then all of a sudden the donations roll in.
All right. Well, we got some time. We get some time to figure it out, but we got to start coming up with a plan to raise money for that charity on New Year's again. We'll have to come up. We'll have to put our heads together.
Yeah, we'll just make sure everybody knows it's a good cause. It's so that Ray Bork can get more brains.
I think we should. Yannick should pull his beard out one hair at a time, and for every
This comes
No.
out easy.
Yeah, not talking about Yannick though, but you can do it too if you like. But like one hair at a time, pluck it, and that's $1. Okay, here comes another one, pluck.
So with suggestions like this, Eric, you're going to find out there's going to be a French Quebec person who's going to demonstrate the fork thing. Well, it all circles back around to the fork thing. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, you wouldn't donate? Like I like boom, $100 right there. That's 100. Plick, plick. He has got to pull out 100 hairs right there on camera. People would go nuts for that.
Mm-hmm. This is why we don't leave Eric in charge of things, Brandon. This is why we don't leave him in charge of anything.
Come on,
at all.
charity.
Indeed. Yes. So thank you for Hobby Palooza for having us, and we're glad that we were able to shatter your record that shall probably never be broken.
Because nobody would really want to.
No, I doubt it.
I watched the whole thing.
That's sad. Stop bragging about that.
We're very proud of
it. It actually helped me, and I was for a Monday. I was very productive today, and it helped me stay focused because I just turned it on, had it on a separate tab, and I just went working and listening to you guys and went about my business.
Yeah, Eric, it helps people.
It helped me be productive.
Not all heroes wear capes.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So on that bombshell, let's shift over. Let's talk a little bit about the ruination of the hobby through autograph. Now, briefly I talked about it, and basically the big crux of it was initially it was a Facebook post that has since been deleted, but obviously a lot of people captured it. And it was a person basically confessing to being kind of the head of a big memorabilia fraud ring, a lot of fake autographs, fake stickers, fake COAs, all kinds of things. I'm giving you the really high level summary. I'll include a link in the description for you so you can skim through it yourself and see a little bit more as well. Bottom line is you have that. And then there was also a search warrant given, so they were going to look into it. He was basically confessing in the Facebook post. And then through the course of it, we'll use the YouTube parlance because apparently you get demonetized if you say it. He basically unalived himself.
He unalived himself.
Yes. So regardless, it'll all be in the article, so you can check it out for yourself. But obviously, the big takeaway from it was really the scope of the fraud. Really, the scope is the big thing. The eye-popping numbers is the big thing. Now, I'm not going to argue on that too much because, again, we're taking one person's valuation. The big thing is that there were people that did agree that the scope of it is massive. The question is, what is massive, right? He was claiming more than $350 million worth of fraud and millions of items, which obviously is a big deal, but kind of hard to verify. We kind of have to take your word, and you're not around anymore, so we can't really check on that very carefully. So the question is, what exactly is affected by it? So a couple of things. Obviously, look, I'm not going to downplay it because it is significant, right? For the memorabilia side of things, even if the truth is a fraction of that, even if you're embellishing it to make it sound bigger, okay, make it $50 million instead of $350 million. That's still a lot. Still a lot of autograph items, still a lot of potential issues. And if you were able to fake different COAs, stickers, and stuff like that, that again is still an issue. Regardless of how you want to present it, that would still be a major issue. And if it's anywhere close to the number that he was suggesting, again, that would be a major issue. The point is that The reaction to it from a lot of the YouTube and social media side of thing, I think is interesting. Obviously, that's enough to like make the news and all that. But I guess the cynical side of me, so again, I'm giving you just this high level initial comment and then we'll talk about it. The cynical side of me is always like, well, this stuff kind of stuff happens, not this specifically, but stuff happens where it's like, oh, this will be the ruination of the hobby. And then the wind changes direction and people forget about it in a week. Because in the grand scheme of things, and I pose this as a question, how many people does this actually affect? Even with the sheer numbers that they're talking about, not everybody has autographed memorabilia in their collection. There's a lot of people who have spent their entire lives collecting and they just collect the cards or whatever the case. And even if we talk about, oh, well, what about, the autographed cards or your certified autos and all that? We're going to get to all that because that's a valid question and a valid counter, but we'll get to all that, I promise. But I'm just asking the question from the memorabilia side. Yeah, I've got some memorabilia, obviously. I like to think that if it's $350 million worth of fake autographs, I like to think that Eric personally purchased 349 million of them. So really, how much is out there? He's got most of it in his room. So it feels like it's pretty well contained, Brandon. Like it's like a contagion that's been contained to one specific place and it's been quarantined. I feel like Eric's taking care of it. Like Reggie Lemon isn't even a real person. That's how fake. That's how they made up a hockey player to sell Eric autographs. How deep does this rabbit hole go?
That's not cool.
That's pretty deep.
Deep.
Just a couple of things, just whether it matters to the story or not. I actually came across, because I used to live in Indiana, and so I came across one of the news channels had posted a video on YouTube, and they kind of broke down kind of the timeline a bit, and it seems like the raid happened at the warehouse, and then I guess the individual had made the post, and the cops, FBI, whoever, then went to search another location, which allegedly was his home. And then that's where they had found him the following day. They had done the search on that place, and that's when they found him, what he had done. To touch on that, though, and to your point of the denomination of number there, maybe he didn't want, maybe it's a thing where he didn't want to look suspicious. But when it said like where the area was that all this was taking place, I would have expected someone that was working with that kind of cash flow to have lived in like Carmel, Indiana, or Fishers, which is like an upscale, part north side Indianapolis. Really nice homes, and it was not that. It looked like just probably average salary, maybe. The home didn't look anything outrageous or any of that. And so that kind of, I was like, wow, if you're going through this much work to make that much money and you're still living on, these conditions, that was kind of surprising to me. So I also seen a post. I don't know if you guys seen it, and I honestly cannot remember where I seen it from. But it was somebody, and this goes to the hockey thing. It was somebody had posted a bunch of pucks that somebody had bought off of Amazon that were signed by Gretzky or auto-penned by Gretzky. Yeah. And I think I don't know who the other player was, if it was Gretzky and Lemieux. Or
it was so I believe I saw them. I think it was Team Canada pucks. And I believe it was Gretzky on top and Lemieux underneath. I think it was the two of them.
So if you've seen them, then you'll understand what I'm saying. To run the operation to this extent, it kind of surprised me that to do the auto pen, he did it in the same exact spot on every puck. Like it was literally like carbon copy in the same exact spot. They all looked the same. And I was like, for someone that was running an operation that, allegedly went, what did he say, 20 years or something like that? And, hundreds of millions of dollars. That one kind of was weird to me too, that you would do them so repetitive to where they looked identical, because that's throwing red flags. So.
Right. So there's a couple of angles on it, Eric. We can touch on this. So I don't want to go in 50 directions. So let me start here and we'll kind of shift around a little bit. Okay. Because there's a couple of angles we can take on this. There's lots of them. And you work at a shop where you do signings, and we'll get to all that in a moment. But let me start with this. Let's keep it simple. I'm not going to debate the numbers because I genuinely don't know. It could be what he says. It could be a little bit less than what he's. Again, I said a moment ago, if it was 1/10 of what he says, it's still a lot. It's still a massive fraud. It's still a lot of items. It's still, again, we could knock it down by 90%. It's still a big number. Either way, however you want to present it. I do think it's significant. I guess my takeaway and kind of what I said on the live when we were talking about it briefly is I said it's just kind of a reminder, a discussion that there are two categories that it's not an exact science, however you want to, because we've talked about this before. One of them is, the boxes, the sealed boxes and all that business, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. And really, you're just looking for telltale signs. Autographs is the other one because of the nature of autographs. And I know that I was listening to Hockey Card Gong Show and they were talking about it a little bit. And I know that they were trying to kind of contribute to the conversation, but the discussion kind of led to tell me that they don't have too much familiarity with how the autograph thing go, because they're talking about AI and all this. And I think they were talking from the angle of a way that somebody could make the auto pen more sophisticated and add variation to it. But technology isn't going to solve this problem, because no matter what analysis you do, no matter what scanning you do, variation is actually normal. If the autographs are real, there should be variation. And the problem is you can't predict the variation. You can't anticipate the variation because there's too many scenarios that can play into it. There can be the autograph where somebody is sitting down calmly signing at a normal pace. Like say you go to, Sports World where Eric does his stuff and they've got everything sequenced well and they're not rushing the person and they're getting a chance. Maybe they're chatting with people while they're doing it and they're signing calmly at a calm pace. Versus somebody is in a rush, they need to sign a bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden it gets a little sloppy, it degrades. It's the real person signing the real item, but now they're in a rush. So now it looks a certain way. Versus in a more calm, kind of controlled environment, it's a certain way. Versus they're signing a check and they're signing their full legal name. It's another way. All of those autographs in these scenarios I'm giving you are legitimate. You see them before they're about to head off somewhere. They agree to sign something for you, but it's basically a scribble because you're doing it super quick. It's a real autograph. The person actually did it for you, but they're in a rush. So they're not going to give you this fluid, smooth, or they're signing something for you and something interrupts them for a second. They lift the pen. Okay, the distraction's gone and they finish what they started.
I've seen that done and the autograph looks different, but I know
Correct.
for a fact it is that person's autograph because I just watched it happen.
Yes, but somebody looking at it after the fact, somebody analyzing it and looking at real samples and all that is going to see, oh, the pen was lifted and was put back. That's a fake. Well, not necessarily. The lifting, the hesitation is a telltale sign. That is one thing you can look for. But I just gave you a completely normal scenario where that could 100% happen. The person gets distracted for a second. He's not completely done. He or she or whoever is not completely done. Then they get back to it and they finish it. It's the real person signing the real item. All these things. So it's not a science. It's a broken down thing where you're basically giving a best guess. And there's a million things that can go wrong. And if a person doesn't have the auto pen, is in some ways the auto pen is almost the easiest to figure out, because if it's too perfect, then something's wrong. Because if you look at a bunch of them side by side or a couple side by side and they're exact, that's the only time I can be like, yeah, no way. There's no chance. Like that person couldn't do it if you gave them 100 years. They couldn't get it that exact. There's no chance. So that's your best bet is if it's too perfect. Your best bet if it's too exact, if it's too precise. But then how much variation is allowed? Even if you want to try to bring technology into it. Oh, with AI can analyze. Okay, cool. But how much variation is allowed? We know some variation exists. How much are you going to allow for? Because if you let it go too far, then anybody and their brother can get it to pass. Because you've offered all that variation. And by the way, last thing, real quick, and one more consideration here. A lot of the people that spend their time learning how to forge, again, at the end of the day, it's a human being signing. The little peculiarities, the little idiosyncrasies, all the things in a signature. That's a practice thing too. Even if you did learn cursive in school, you learned to do it a certain way. Well, we all started from the same template of cursive. So how do we wind up with all those variances? Because then we all took it our own way. I signed my name in a different way. I always use the example. My dad and I have the exact same name. Our signatures could not be any more different. And Carlos Sr.'s signature is extremely consistent. I could see it over and over again. He'd be able to do it over and over again. It looks completely different than mine. We're signing the exact same name. How is that possible? Because we each took two completely different approaches to it, right? He signs it his way. I'm signing it mine. We're signing the same name, Eric. Same first name, same last name. But we've got two completely different approaches, and we can both do them consistently. But they're different. My handwriting is different than his, and all the rest of it. So that's normal. That is to be expected. But you compare a whole page worth of signatures, mine, Brandon's, Eric's, anybody else you want, it's going to vary. You know, one of Eric's personal stalking victims, Marcel Dion, allegedly. He's got a very distinctive signature. He signs his stuff a certain way. It's never going to be perfect. There cannot be two perfect Marcel signatures. They don't exist. But he's very consistent. Like, he is consistent. And he can pretty much hit it, and he's got his way of doing it. Gordie Howe has his way of doing things that he did when he signed for many years. And he signed a lot of stuff. Merrill Lemieux has his distinct way of doing it. His signature is completely different. What's that?
His auto sucks. Mario's,
but it's consistent. Whatever it is, it's still consistent.
He sucks.
But even then, it varies. It'll vary over time, early in his career, later in his career. If you ask him to sign today, even if he's taking his time, it's not going to look the same as it did in 1987. There's going to be a little bit of variances, no matter what. And Mario's not old, but as he gets older, I expect variations to continue. I expect it to look a little more different as time goes on. Johnny Bauer had a very consistent signature for a very long time, but eventually it breaks down. They all do. So if somebody signs long enough, you're going to see this gigantic variation from the beginning to the end of a long signing career. So I guess, all that to say, I gave you that whole preamble because this is all part of the consideration you got to give. Brandon, how the hell would anybody have any hope in hell of authenticating this thing in the first place?
You're not. I actually was reading and kind of chiming in here and there on a post on Facebook regarding an autographed item. And that's kind of one of the things, you know, there's so much of this stuff out here now. And we're looking at this example because it's the one that's recent on the plate. But
yeah,
we know that there's likely more. This isn't something that just happened to, you know, start happening yesterday and they found out about it. There's probably more people. I mean, look at overseas, all the cards and everything else that are faked and all that. So, you know, this is an example that's on the plate in front of us. But we honestly don't know how much stuff out in the marketplace, and whether it's cards, photos, memorabilia, jerseys, whatever, we don't know how much is legitimate and how much is fake. We don't. There's no possible way. I think the authenticators, they have ways that they go about things. I think they're trained on what they assume is the best way to detect this stuff, but I'm sure they even make mistakes quite often, most likely, both good and bad. They probably pass some that they shouldn't and fail some that they shouldn't. I don't know what the answer truly is, except I guess what we all should be doing anyway, and that is just being cautious when we buy things. And if you're collecting autographs, I think most people are usually somewhat familiar with the player that they're trying to get. So, you know, if it's got red flags, just pass, you know, because I really don't know what the answer is to it.
Can I
I
ask a
don't
question?
know if
Just
there
kind of
is a
based on
true fixing it.
that's kind of where I'm leaning, but let me ask a question kind of based on what you just said a few moments ago. Even if the authenticators get to a point where they're able to ferret out some obvious fakes, even if, you know, if there's any exemplars that are flawed, they fix that. They're able to isolate that and get those out of the, you know, get those out of the records and all that. Even if they get to a point where they do a pretty good job, whatever you consider to be pretty good, I guess. So here's a question that I'll ask. Let's say you could say the authenticator, whoever you want, I don't care who it is, JSA or PSA or whoever, I don't care. Let's say you get to the point that they say, okay, we can definitively say that we can catch 85 to 90%. That means 10 to 15% are going to be either false positives or false negatives.
Yep.
Now think volume. Now think of the sheer number of stuff. Eric, is 85 to 90% good enough?
With everything that's in the hobby, no, there's so much out there.
Now, follow-up question. Can you reasonably hope for better than 85 to 90%? Because I'd argue 85 to 90% would be better than their ratio right now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And that, like I said, to me, now imagine 9 out of 10, they'll get it right. That's a pretty good percentage in most things. In most things, 9 out of 10, okay, well, that's not bad. But in what I just said a moment ago, you're like, oh, well, that might not be good enough. Well, unfortunately, that's better than what we got to now. I'd argue that's better than what we have at the moment. I guess, so let me follow it up then in this way. That's why I said there's a lot of directions we can take on this. So I'm just trying to take us one step at a time here. All right, so for next thought then. Okay, so let's assume then we can't even get to the 90% right now. And I don't think we are. I don't think we're anywhere close to that number, realistically. I think a lot more fake stuff gets through, and I think a lot more, actual autographs are considered false because, again, there's some inconsistency, which can be explained away by the scenarios we talked about a couple of minutes ago that are realistic. They happen. So if we can't get to that, okay. So unless, this goes back to the whole chain of custody thing, unless it is signed physically right in front of your face, you can't have that level of assurance because, again, even the ones doing their best are still going to miss stuff. We already know that built into this idea. Should we even be paying, and I'm using the collective we, not us individually, but a collective we, should we even be paying that much for autographed memorabilia when I would almost venture to say, I don't care how reputable somebody is, stuff falls through the crack, mistakes are made, unless you are super confident that the only stuff they have is personally witnessed, hand-signed stuff, that their reputation is good enough for you to take that flyer. Should we be paying anywhere near what we're paying for the autographed memorabilia then? Because if you're going to factor in the risk, you should be paying a fraction then. You should be looking to basically be like, yeah, I'll buy it, but it'd have to be dirt cheap otherwise, because I'm taking all the risk.
Yeah, I mean, people need to be cautious, and that's, I'm not saying your point is wrong. I think as someone who's on both sides of the fence, as a consumer, yeah, this is all very troubling, and it's a reminder of the criminals that are out there looking to steal my money and to trick me. But on the other side of the fence, as someone who does this for a living, we are constantly spotting fakes that come in, whether it be baseballs, hockey pucks, footballs. I mean, as soon as they put them up on the counter and say, do you guys buy, autographs? Sure. And they put it up and we go, that's fake. And people get into fights with us. My father said he got this signed in 1972 at this place by this person. And it's like, listen, I'm sorry, it's not real. And people get really upset and offended. Then you got the straight criminals who know it's fake and come in and ask, hey, do you want to buy this? And it's like, that's not Tom Brady's signature. Yeah, it is. No, we're not interested. Okay. They turn around and walk out because they knew it was fake. So they're not even going to fight. The thing that troubled me the most in that post on the internet was the talking about how they'd have someone come in, an athlete, sign, okay, say they signed 100 items, paid the athlete to sign 100 items. The athlete leaves. They then take out 100 more, unsigned 8x10s and sign them themselves. And now they have 200 copies. Mm-hmm. They have pictures and video of the person being there at the shop or at the signing this stuff, standing there with their arm around you, the owner, the whole thing, stuff we do all the time. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if someone questions it, you go, hey, wait, look here's the video of them signing a stack of these. Here's the picture of him sitting in that chair, him with his arm around me. This stuff is real. I use that as proof all the time. Never once in my brain, and that's maybe it's because I'm not a criminal, have I ever thought, hey, this would be a great idea Like we're having a signing with Jeremy Swayman on Sunday. Hey, let's only pay Jeremy to do 100 of these, and then I'll do 100 more after he leaves, and we'll have all the proof that he came and did. That never ever crossed my brain, but that's what this guy is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have proof to show these people that we worked with this athlete, yet you're still selling them fake stuff. This is going to affect our business. And I mean, the hobby, the autograph business, not specifically saying sports world, although that will include the autograph business. People have already come in this week and, hey, did you guys hear about? Did you guys see? What do you guys think? And then people specifically asking us this week more than usual, because they do ask, and I love it when they ask, because then I get to tell cool stories. But asking, where did this come from? How did you get it? Where did this specific one come from? Someone bought a Ray Bork 8x10 auto today, and he started asking questions. Well, I pull out my phone. I show him 10 different pictures of Ray and I standing in the shop right over there. You can see that picture up there on the wall? That's him standing right in front of it. He's in here all the time, blah, blah, blah. And that made the guy feel more comfortable, bought it, left, and he left happy. So I don't mind when they ask and do this, but when this type of information gets out, that these people would have someone like Ray come in, sign this stuff, and then sign 100 more after he left, that's going to make them really start to question where their money is going. And and I feel bad as a seller of this stuff, and as someone who does this for a living, that they can't even trust their own eyes when we show them video and pictures and everything, of Ray or Jeremy Swayman this weekend, or Mike Napoli last week, and whoever it's been that we've worked with over the years. It's like that doesn't even mean anything anymore, because this information has come out and is now in people's heads, which I don't blame them. I do think it's going to affect the business. I think it's going to put even more doubt into consumers' heads. For those who already had doubt, it's going to add more. And for those who blindly purchased signatures and autos, is going to put doubt in their heads for the first time. We are a very reputable business that's been in business since 1986. We're known all over the United States and Canada. We have tons and tons of connections everywhere. People come in and buy stuff from us and as a rule, don't second guess it. If it's from Sports World, it's legit. It's 100%. No issues. If you read this manifesto, I don't know how you can come into our shop tomorrow and not have doubts.
Yeah, I think that's anywhere. I mean,
yeah.
So a couple things, just like with what Eric was saying there. It's actually sad that outside of like the people, we look at it from the hobby perspective of, there's probably people that spent good money and got an item that they were all excited about, their favorite player, maybe they gave it to their kid or something like that, and it's likely, potentially fake. But look at the other side of it with, and we could say, oh, well, there's no need to feel sorry for them, they're millionaires, whatever, but these athletes that came in, signed in good faith, got paid for an amount, and then these people just said, okay, that's enough, we're not paying you anymore, and just start printing money, because then there's no cost, there's no, You know, they're not paying the athlete for the autographs anymore.
All profit.
Yeah, and so, you know, there's that side of it that's affected too, and God knows, like, we heard the big names, but I am sure that it was much easier to do with the smaller names, and I do know I've seen they had, like, Odell Beckham as one of them. You know, he was really popular at one time, but I'm sure he's not a high expense player, both, you know, on the market value or paying to come in and sign. I don't know what he charges, but to go on a couple other directions here, and I know, Carlos, you said you didn't want to go 50 directions, but you mentioned the images and all of that, and I used an example in my video I did today with the CDs.
So I want to do that. I want to get to that one. Hang on one second. I just have one question, and then we'll get into that example because I think is a valid. I've got something else I want to touch on with that as well. So, kind of to Eric's point, though, is that because of what he was just talking about, unfortunately, the skepticism is warranted. Reason being that the image you're seeing of Eric there with the person or the person signing whatever, that means the person signed that picture that you're looking at. It doesn't mean they signed the one that's on the rack, or it doesn't mean they signed the one that's in the top loader. It means they signed that specific. If you're buying the same one that's in the picture, then great. But if you're buying one of the other 8x10s you happen to have, I can't tell the difference. Like, they're all the same picture of the 8x10 or whatever. Even if you say you've got each individual picture they signed and you've got a picture of all of them, cool, but you're only showing me one specific. You can show me video. You can show, that means you signed that one. Unless, you know, Ray Bork puts 001 and then I'm also getting a 001, but, you know, we can have that conversation beyond that. Yeah. But unless there's some kind of a telltale sign that that specific video or picture is the exact one you are now handing me in my hand, because I wasn't there, that doesn't provide the full assurance. That's why it goes back to what we were saying earlier. The only way I can guarantee you 100% that the signature is exactly what you say is if the person that signed it is signing it right in front of your face and literally slides it to the end of the table and it is now in your hands. Then and only then can I be 100% sure. Anything short of that, I am less than 100%. You can consider it 99% because your buddy got it for you, whatever. But I'm saying the only 100% sure way is if it was you standing there, they sign it, say thank you, hand it to you in your hand, and now you walk out the door with it. That's the only 100%. Everything else is less than 100% no matter what it is, who it's from or whatever. And that's always going to be the problem with this particular scenario. So just wanted to say that. But go ahead, Brandon. Use the example. I'll be right back.
Well, to Eric's point, you know, it sounds like one of the rouges that these individuals used was they would have the athletes come in, you know, sign a batch of however many. They would have the photo evidence, the proof of the player being there or whatever. And then they would just make a bunch more copies. And I wanted to use this example because this was not someone creating fake copies, but it's the same scenario. There's a little reel on Instagram or a Facebook little short or something like that of showing the artist. And I did a little bit of digging. I don't know all of them that have done this, but it's actually become common in the music industry where the artists are, I guess, putting out videos saying, hey, you know, go to my website, blah, 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 with a link. Pick up my newest album, the signed, you know, limited availability of signed CDs or vinyls or whatever. And they're actually auto pinning them. And there is one of the examples. Now, it's kind of hard to see with showing it this way, I guess, but there is, you know, you can see right there on the J, well, on the ends, you can see like where it's got the thick pen start and stop marks. But I actually, to show even more here, two this way, side by side, but they're in different locations on the picture. So they were creative enough to move the photos around so they weren't all done in the exact same spot. This wasn't somebody out there scamming on a third-party market or whatever. This was right from his own website. puts out a little video showing him signing stuff. Hey, go, my new album's dropping. Go pick up my new merch, blah, blah, blah. You get it in the mail, and then you start like seeing posts and everything else, and it's, oh, they're auto-pinned.
Mm-hmm.
We were speaking on it mostly in the memorabilia and that sort of side of things, but I still question even the legitimacy on the cards, because we've had the recent thing with Lionel Messi. We've had
I want to get to that.
press.
I do want to get to that. So hang
Yeah.
tight. I want to finish with the CD thing because I have a quick follow up on that, on the
Okay,
example you
yeah.
gave, and then
But
we'll come
I
around to
thought
cards
this
because that's my
was,
next one.
I had mentioned this, I think on a Friday Live or maybe in the podcast
Mhm.
months ago. I mentioned this because I was, I have 2 other copies of them, but
Mhm.
they were cheap enough, and allegedly the money went to charity, which I'm hoping it did. But it was like a prime example, because this wasn't some random person sitting in a warehouse, trying to screw people over. That was the actual artist. So, who knows what we're seeing out there now.
Sure. Now, so I wanted to kind of so I wanted to ask a question because I wanted to use your example since you had it on the video there, and it's obviously fresh of mind. So kind of in that vein. Now, I know you didn't get it from originally that source, and you said that some of the proceeds presumably went to charity and all that. I'm not going to question it for now. We'll just go with that. But was there a premium, like a major premium to it if you bought the autograph version of it? Was it more? How much more was it? Do you know? offhand?
I think so. I bought them they were called a fan pack, where one
Sure.
of them you got a T-shirt and a CD,
Okay.
and then the other was a hoodie and a CD. That's why I wound up with 4 copies, because I got me one and then the wife one. I think the CDs were $25 if you just bought an autograph copy,
Okay.
and probably, I don't know, 15 if it was the unautographed album. I don't know specifics on just unautographed versus autographed, because I got mine in the package.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to use an example since you brought it up because I have a bunch of CDs and things, and I've got a few artists that I follow, and one of them I've talked about in the past is Matthew Good, who's a musician out of the West Coast in Canada. Now, I wanted to talk about this because generally speaking, I don't bother with any of that stuff. Special editions and all that is not worth my effort. I want the music, and that's generally what I'm good with. However, there was one exception, and I'll just share it. So there's this CD right here. So this is Lights of the Endangered Species, Matthew Good. I got this from Universal Music Canada. So I actually got it from the label that basically released this. Now, here's the thing. On it, they had a version of it, which on the inside has an autograph.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see there. But here's the thing. This was the exact same price as the CD without the autograph. It was that if you were one of the first 50 or 100, I forget what it was, because this is back in 2011. So you buy the CD with no autograph, it costs the exact same amount. You buy the CD and you just happen to be one of the first however many, while supplies last, basically, and you get the autograph version of it. So now, the reason I pose this question, could that autograph be fake? Sure. But I didn't pay a dime extra, Eric. So now this is going to lead to a question that I'm going to ask at the end. We're going to talk about cards, but I'm going to come back to this. So since you mentioned the CD thing, I want to come back to this at the very end. And I'm going to pose this question, but we'll answer it at the end. In this scenario where I didn't pay any premium, does it really matter to me whether the autograph's good or not? It looks good based on like what I've seen previous autographs that he's done before. It looks reasonable enough. I don't see anything that seems to tell me. But Eric, I paid the same amount for this as if I had bought it with no autograph whatsoever. So does it really matter on my end of it? I did get it from the label. So in theory, it should be good, in theory. But they could have auto-penned it. But again, it was only a limited number. And again, I paid no premium. So I don't lose anything. I still have the CD. What I actually paid for was the CD.
Some people, though, that may not have purchased a hard copy CD at all and would have just downloaded off iTunes, but they paid that price, whether it be more or less or the same, for that specific item, and they expect it to be autographed as it is, as it says it is. So not many people are holding CDs like you two guys are today. Mostly everything is downloaded now.
No, I agree. But the reason I'm asking this question, the reason I'm asking the question is because, again, they did the first however many bought it. The problem is you have no idea what number you were. So when you're buying it, if you happen to be one of the first 50 or 100, you would get it. The digipack itself looks exactly the same either way. It's when you open it up on the inside, there's the autograph on the inside of it. It's not on the outside. It's not anywhere else on it. This is identical to the one you can buy in the store. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same. If you were the 51st, you got this, but there's no autograph. So you were paying the same price. So that's why I say there was no premium to it. It was a timing thing rather than a pay extra for the privilege thing. You can't assume you're getting the autograph copy because it's not automatic.
It was a gamble is what it was.
Correct.
And if some people may not have taken that gamble unless there was some type of reward. And the reward is possibility you might get an autograph if you try to purchase it early. And so I mean, I think I get your point. I do. I just don't fully agree with it. I think that the autograph does matter in your case because some people may not have taken that gamble if it wasn't offered. Therefore, when they do get it, they're excited about it. That's what they wanted. That's what they went for. That's what they gambled on. And they expect that they took that gamble in good faith and that it is real.
Well, I have an added element to that whole thing, but you said we would answer at the end.
Yeah, we're gonna revisit it. I just wanted to put that in your minds to start off with. We're gonna come back around to it.
While we were on the music topic, some names that have been, I know for a fact Bob Dylan is one that's been heavily mentioned. I guess he had a book that he released, and it was found that it was auto penned, and the book cost like $600.
Mm-hmm.
That's nonsense.
Ozzy Osbourne has been named, Dolly Parton, Van Morrison. There's like it's big in the music industry now of the merchandise being auto penned. So
sure. Can I ask a question? And maybe I shouldn't ask it and get an answer, so we don't want to encourage people. I've done no research, none, zero. Okay. Again, and inherently I'm not a criminal and I don't think in criminal ways. How easy is it for Joe Average to buy an auto pen machine? Do you just
probably pretty simple in today's
world.
Go
on Amazon and just buy one and then program?
It's probably pretty simple.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why a major music company, Dolly Parton's music company, can somehow get their hands on one, a really nice one, and afford one and get the whole thing done. How easy is it for Joe Average to start doing this from their home?
If people are capable of getting the CT machines to scan the boxes and stuff, I'm pretty sure the auto pen's probably way easier.
Well, something that's a pretty good point.
Actually, I don't know how well it would do
to break into hospitals and kind of do it, but I'm sure there was a couple that got their hands on their own.
No, I've never attempted it, and I don't have the extra time to fiddle fart around with it and try it. But my wife, because me and her were discussing this whole thing, and when I first told her what it was doing, she's like, "Are they putting it in a Cricut machine?" Because, and I didn't even think about it at first, but the little Cricut vinyl cutter machines, they actually have a program where you can put a marker or a pen in it and tell it what, like you can map it out on the computer or whatever and tell it what to do on the item. So it's, to answer your question, I don't know how well it would do, but you can literally do it with a Cricut machine.
The technology is pretty basic at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So I did a quick Google search just off the top. One of the first hits I got on here. I can get you one for $15K.
Ooh,
15,000.
Yep. This is like a professional.
That's a good
machine.
So,
yeah, it's like a good one.
It's not.
Remember, if you're using it for volume, Eric, if you're trying to commit fraudulentness in volume, $15K is a pittance. You can get your money back pretty quick.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to invest. Joe Average would have to invest and hope that his diabolical plan works out. They're not $800 where anyone can go and just put it on their credit card and come home with one and start a
Eric,
business.
just don't go to the National. Just don't go to the National. Don't buy a couple of Luca Prisms, and you're good.
Okay, I won't do either of those things.
We're ready for full production.
All
You
right.
can also lease the machines, by the way. You got to do a minimum of 10 machines. It's $650 per machine per month. So for $6,500, you can have 10 machines, by the way, and have this do for a month.
And see, here's the thing.
Okay.
Who in the hell needs 10 auto pen machines if there's not fraudulent activity going on?
Eric
Why
has a
would you
lot of
need 10
fans.
separate
Yeah.
machines to be doing automatic signatures.
You know, and I wanted to make this point earlier. You know, obviously we're upset about this and bothered by it, and realize that that's not cool. But this has been going on since the beginning of famous people signing autographs. Say Babe Ruth, maybe he was the first. You know, Charles Lindbergh. They had clubhouse attendants and secretaries signing baseballs and pitchers 100 years ago because of the volume that these people would get. But like I said, Charles Lindbergh, Babe Ruth, you know, I don't know. Well, Amelia Earhart didn't, you know, she was pretty famous, I guess, before she disappeared. But you get my point. People from the past, you know, 100 years ago, were getting fan mail and requests. And there was no auto pen, but there was clubhouse attendants and secretaries that would sit there all day and sign Babe Ruth's name. And to this day, there are people who believe they have Babe Ruth's autograph on a baseball, and it's, you know, his secretary, Sally, that did it. The clubhouse boy, Jimmy, you know, he paid, you know, a nickel a ball to, you know, and they're still out there in people's collections and they're being passed around. And it's like, no, that's a clubhouse auto, you know, that's a secretarial auto, you know. So this is just the modern version of that.
Well, the big ones you didn't even mention is the presidents, and they openly use it. And I'll say, I actually bought 3 presidential autographs. And when I actually dug into them deeper, I realized none of the 3 were legitimate,
that's
actual signatures. So they got thrown in the trash.
Because the things that, you know, presidents should be signing, you know, are legal, you know, in a sense, most of the stuff. And some of their proclamations are just stupid. But, you know, I mean, they should sign it. You know, they shouldn't be auto pen. The president of the United States, prime minister of Canada, you know, whatever, should not be auto penning legal decrees and documents. And
apparently that's been the case since the 50s.
And it's whoever the first person who did it was wrong, and whoever the last person did it, I think, is wrong. And in both parties, you know, we know about this last administration here in the States, and there's a lot of questions about that, which also goes to his cognitive abilities and blah, blah, blah. It's wrong. The president should be signing stuff. If it's important for a presidential signature, the president should be signing it. That's just my opinion, and that both parties.
Well, Eric, I will not have you try to pronounce upon these presidents something that no predecessors have ever done, as George Washington once did with ye old auto pen.
Yeah, right.
It is tradition.
Yeah.
With the quill and the feather. And,
yeah. You know, and probably had a secretary sign that for him. And
see,
I think it's wrong. If
from
it's
the beginning
enough for a president to sign it, president should be signing it. That's my opinion. I don't think, you know, I don't think that's politics per se. I think
it's scandalous. I think Sally's handwriting is vastly superior. So all we're saying is that going into the cards themselves, obviously that is the next extension. The next extension goes into looking at the autograph cards. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to the whole procession of a chain of custody. Chain of custody, basically, because wherever you get them from, the old ones would always be like Upper Deck representative, right? You'd have that. So this one here is from Be a Player. That's one company. Well, Upper Deck, here's another one. That's Upper Decks. So on the back of this one, just so I can see it here, you received a trading card autograph from Mike Modano in the presence of a representative of the Upper Deck company, or provided and certified as to its authenticity by Mike Modano. The problem is that doesn't say that an Upper Deck employee got it. It says Upper Deck representative or was provided or certified as to his authenticity by Mike Modano.
Right.
Now, having owned as many of these as I have, for the most part, I can pretty reasonably say that they're let's put it this way, they're consistent with what I've seen before.
Yep.
I think that's fair. I can say that.
And when it comes to Mike Modano autographs, you are an expert.
Now, the problem is that with a lot of these guys, it doesn't matter who it is. And it doesn't matter, like, we can look at a ton of them, and I've got plenty. We can do different sets, different years, different eras, all that stuff. The problem is, it doesn't matter. The reality is, there's a certain amount of kind of faith that you have to kind of put into it. But at the same time, you're not necessarily, like, how much are you paying for a lot of these things? Because a lot of these autographs, a lot of them now, for especially some of them, even somebody who's a Hall of Famer, even somebody who fits into some of these categories, you can get some of them fairly inexpensively. We talked about Marcel Dion. I can get you an autograph, Marcel Dion autograph, that's certified on card autograph for like $20. So it's like, it's not like it's this big cash cow. It's not this, a super rare auto of somebody who doesn't sign much would be much more lucrative in terms of return on investment, as opposed to forging a $20 autograph.
Yeah,
that isn't to say that you can't make money forging the $20. I'm just saying, it's easier to make more money on autographs that are worth more.
Yeah, absolutely. But Brandon kind of brought something up earlier when he was talking about, I don't know how he phrased it, but say lesser known, lesser famous players, you can make 1 million of those and nobody's really checking and sell them for $20 a piece and make your money. And no one's really caring too much, handing over a little bit of money and taking that risk. Or you can make, 100 Jordans and people are super suspicious and paying because they're paying you $1,000 each and are really concerned about whether they're real or not. So I mean, the long con would be a lesser known player for less money, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, if you wanted to play the long game, for sure. I think that's where it kind of goes into circling back around. The original guy was saying that he had, again, we're taking his numbers that he provided. He's
Which I
saying
don't
that he
believe, by the way. I know what you said earlier. I just don't believe it's that high. But
and that's fine.
I'll say why. Why? I keep calling it a manifesto because that's kind of what it seemed to be. The guy was so arrogant. It was an FU to the hobby. It was a goodbye, good luck. I mean, he literally said, good luck, FU. He didn't say that, but that was the message. Good luck in the hobby in the future. He was completely arrogant about this whole thing and how he got over on all of us and he got over on the hobby and he made his millions and I screwed you all. Ha, 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 ha. I believe his numbers are inflated. Did he do some of this stuff? Yes. Did he have a guy come in, sign 100 pitches, and he signed 100 more and sold them? Absolutely. The millions upon millions of autographs he sold. I am in the autograph business. We have not sold millions. We're one of the premier autograph sellers in the number one in New England. We're known through North America from coast to coast in 2 countries. We do not sell 1 million autographs a year. Those numbers are insane. It's not possible. I won't believe it. I just can't. I see what we sell. I know we're gonna sell a bunch from Jeremy Swayman. Okay, we're gonna sell a bunch. We're gonna make our money back after paying him, and and it's gonna be a good day for us. We're not selling 1 million.
But he was talking dollars.
Yeah, no, but over the years, he was saying that he's faked millions of things and he's made
So
millions.
I actually was pulling up the information so that I could have it here. So he was saying over 350 million in sales, and he says that through the one specific avenue he sold over 4 million items. Now this is important. The reason why I say, going back to what we were talking about a moment ago, in order for that to work, the way we just discussed, even if we say 5 million items, that means you're making over $70 per. You're not getting away with the $10, $20 autographs. You got to be going into the $100 autographs. And again, we included, you're talking about, he said when Kobe died, we put out 80,000 items. Well, Kobe autographs are not worth $10.
Right.
So you say 80,000 Kobe items. Well, right there, you're talking about hundreds of dollars per. So that's not the long con version of what we just talked about. That's you're going for big ticket items here.
500 plus after
And
he
you're
died.
saying after he died, when he died. So when he died, Kobe's autograph prices went way up. So now you're talking bigger ticket item here automatically.
Well, you're also talking that period was the pandemic period.
Yeah.
You did have a lot of buying going on. And he mentions Brady, Mahomes, like those guys are, Mahomes is 2017 to now. So it's not out of the realm that they didn't have a big flow during that period. To what extent, who knows? But
one company selling 4 million autographed items. I just don't see it.
Well, wasn't that over like 20 years?
That's the allegation. So I think my key point, I don't really want to quibble about the numbers too much, but the reality is the problem is that the number of items is one thing that we could debate about. The problem is we have nothing to debate on it, other than it's just a very difficult number to put together. The amount in sales is different because, like I just gave you an example a moment ago. If you did 80,000 Kobe items after his death, all those are inflated. You can get a lot per. So you can inflate the number and make millions of dollars off of that alone, right there, millions of dollars, plural. So that would suggest to me that a lot of your money would be backloaded because that's pandemic. So that's not 20 years ago. That would be very heavily backloaded because today sports memorabilia is worth a lot more. So you'd be making more per item and doing that. The problem is, like, we're all taking that at face value. 350 million. Why not 500 million? Why not 350 billion? Like, pick any number you like. Like, I can't verify it. I can't verify it anyway.
The guy's a criminal, a liar, and through his manifesto, he was an arrogant son of a bitch who told us all to F off. You really believe anything he says?
Well, the last of those things, Brandon, I'm kind of on board. I got to be honest.
Well, I took the whole thing and maybe
and
I'm looking at it in a different way here. He knew what he was about to do. And this was, I'll agree, it was kind of a heads up, F you, but I also took it as, I know this is the end, but I'm bringing the ship down with me. Because he was mentioning other names and all of that in there as well. And also, even if it doesn't crumble, all the other businesses or whatever that are legitimate or authenticators, it starts putting those question marks there. So you're kind of throwing them all under the bus here, like, hey, people are going to start questioning your stuff because, so I didn't necessarily look at it as so much of arrogance, but if I'm going down, I'm bringing everybody down with me, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm kind of get at here is that, again, going back to what I said a moment ago, I can't argue these numbers because, again, I have no way of validating that. We can agree that you've forged items. That part, everyone seems to be on board. We all agree that items were forged. We can all agree.
Didn't Steve Grad actually say that this was likely the biggest that they've ever seen, and it makes the Operation Bullpen look small or something like that?
Yeah, but the point is that can still be true, and that still leaves a lot of room for interpretation.
Right.
So what I'm getting at is we can all agree that is systematic, and there was a lot of it. But the question is, what is a lot? That's what I mean. 350 million is a number that pops off the page. It's a great headline grabber. It's a nice big number that we like. If you said 50 million, that'd still be a lot. But it's not as, it's not as exciting a number as saying 350. You say 350. Ooh, 350. But as I said, like the problem is, since we can't validate it, Brandon, why not go for
I
half
think
a
the
billion?
numbers are irrelevant.
Go for half a billion. Go
The
for it.
point here is, no matter what the number, whether it's like you said, 500 million or 5 million, it was still a large operation, and it's just the newest one to come out. And we are all probably in agreement and pretty confident that it's not the only one out there.
Oh, correct.
And,
Yes.
we've seen it before. We've seen it again. We'll likely see it again later. And it constantly brings up just the shady nature of what goes on in the space of something that's supposed to be enjoyable and fun. It's nerdy and kind of silly if you really break it down, but it just keeps exposing it just over and over, and it's all because of this.
Well, Brandon, if Jelly Roll would do us wrong, what hope do we have?
I was like,
if Dolly, no, hold on, straight up. If Dolly's doing us wrong,
Bob Dylan.
Oh, fuck him. I'm talking Dolly.
Still, I mean,
fuck Dylan. I don't give two shits about him. Dolly, America's sweetheart. America's freaking sweetheart. When that woman dies, this whole nation's going into mourning.
And this is just musicians. Like, so that was my whole thing. If it's this big there, what else is being done out there? Like, I'm sure it's all over. And, we can get into the card thing if you want, because I've always felt it really weird on several different reasons. A, we continuously get more and more sets, more and more parallels, which creates more and more and more and more autographs, right? But then we see, there was this headline of Caitlin Clark and a Caitlin Clark autographed card selling for more than she makes in an entire season. So at what point do the athletes say, this isn't worth my time to sit here and do this, when the cards themselves are worth more than I even make in a season of playing the game? And this is, I'm just using her as an example because I remember that post distinctly. But you mentioned clubhouse guys or secretaries or whatever. I'm not going to out the name, but I know someone that was part of a MLB clubhouse, and we've had the conversations that he witnessed the clubhouse guys sitting there signing items, signing cards, everything for the players. We've seen the whole Luka mom thing. We've seen the Lionel Messi. We've seen the Dak Prescotts. Like, we can sit here and it says, autograph authenticated or guaranteed by Upper Deck or Topps or Leaf or whatever. But as Carlos said, we're not witnessing this. And in many cases in today's world, the companies aren't even witnessing it. Yeah. So we don't know who the hell is actually signing. I've seen, we had this fun discussion in the Discord. I've seen Jason Robertson autographs that look like Nick Robertson's, and I've seen Nick Robertson autographs on cards that look like Jason's. So are they just helping each other out? Is mom or dad doing it? Is, who in the hell is signing these things? Because they're, even though it's Nick and Jason, their autographs are very similar. And, we see the companies with sticker autos put the wrong damn stickers on cards. Oh, but they're guaranteeing it's real. It's so much. I think it's gotten to the point where there's so much what ifs, you almost have to just laugh and know that a lot of it is just bullshit, but go out there and just try to have fun. Like, pretend everything is okay just to have fun.
Yes, but you can only do that to pretend to have fun if it's not breaking your bank account.
Right, exactly.
So for example, I know, and Carlos has probably heard the story, and I don't know if you have, but we know that Carvin Chung at one point met up with Michael Jordan at Michael Jordan's hotel room. Okay. Put the cards in front of him and Michael signed them. Okay. That is not happening now. So when you got that Michael Jordan autograph card, it said signed in front of an upper deck representative witness spot. Okay. Those are 100%. Now you mail a sticker sheet to somebody in a manila envelope. And when they get around to it, they mail it back to you. You have no idea who signed them, when they signed them, nothing. And yet you still turn the card over and it gives you this promise. How the promise is worthless. Because, like you just said, we all suspect that Luka's mom was signing for him, right? And we know that you have secondhand knowledge of, to this day, clubhouse attendants signing for professional baseball players.
Well, and Carlos, earlier in this whole conversation we're having, you mentioned the fact that a player or a human signing autographs is going to have variance, right?
Yep.
So if let's say Eric's a ball player or a hockey player or whatever, he's got someone likely with him traveling or whatever. How hard would it be for, especially in today's way when they're just chicken scratching, how hard would it be for somebody to take a piece of paper and sit there and practice it to where it gets close enough to look similar? Because all the shit's, it's
initials,
or it's not legible anyway. It's just squigglies. And okay, I got 10,000 I need to do. Hell, they could pay somebody to do it. Give them a cut, and then they're getting paid to pretend like they're signing. Or just like the scam guy, that the bust, maybe the player does sign some.
Mm-hmm.
But
so I would take it one
all.
step further. I would take it one step further than what you're asking. And I think this is something worth considering. And I've heard it also mentioned by some other folks, and I agree with them. The reality is this. Even if we don't take the chicken scratch ones, even if we don't take the initial ones, even if we take everything else, there are too many people out there who have skills in mimicry. Like, if you're someone who could be good enough to be an artist, if you got the steady hand and ability to be an artist, like draw me something or be a caricature or whatever, but you're good and you can make it look good and everything. To your point, I can guarantee you there are people out there who, if you task them with, can you replicate this for me? And you gave them some time to work on it, their version wouldn't just be good enough to pass. The person whose signature it is might not be able to tell you that it's not theirs because, again, it's a human hand doing it. If my hand can do it, and a good artist can do it too. Because that's why I gave you guys the example of my dad and I. We have the same name, but we signed two different styles because we learned a certain way and we diverted in terms of how we decided to write all our letters. But we're writing the same name. So we took two different interpretations and came up with two different ways of doing it. He can replicate his very well. Even in his 70s, he can still replicate his signature very well. But again, he's older, so it's going to have variations to it. But here's the thing. If I ask somebody to go, here's his signature, practice it, they can replicate it. I asked them to do mine. They can replicate it. Because again, it's a human hand. I have certain idiosyncrasies that are built into the way I do it. But the same way that I develop those idiosyncrasies, somebody else with enough practice could also do them. The way you hitch a certain letter, the way you do a certain loop, all that stuff. It doesn't matter how many flourishes you got. You could have super fancy calligraphy style signature. Somebody can still replicate it if I gave them a chance. And if they have talent, if they actually have a good eye and can do that. And then by the time they're done, they can do it with no variation in pressure points. There won't be any hesitations. There will be it'll be smooth. They'll just go boom from left to right. The person whose original signature it is wouldn't be able to tell you it's not theirs. because it's that good. And here's a little philosophy, since we all love our philosophy so much in cards and everything. Brandon, if someone got so good that they could replicate the signature to the point that there's no hesitation, there's no like they held down the pen a little extra, to the point that it's almost beautifully from left to right. It's a couple. What makes up the original? What makes up the real signature then? Because the way they just did it with their hand, that was the way you would have done it with your hand. If they're indistinguishable, what's real?
Well, and that's kind of like what I said in my video. Like, has the hobby gone too far? Like, we could listening to the Hobby Palooza thing. I heard Michael Ham, when y'all were kind of discussing this a little bit, and he said, on the more of the ultra modern stuff, he's going to go for a rarer parallel instead of worrying about the auto or the relic, right?
Sure.
And even then, we have so many now of these parallels. I kind of give the example. Some of these sets have 5, 6, 7 101s potentially. Well, that just becomes not that special either. So have we expanded so far that it's too much? Because we question the relics. We don't know if the player actually had anything to do with the piece. We don't know if it's game worn. We don't know if it's player worn. We don't know if it's Dick's Sporting Goods. We don't know what the hell the relics are anymore for most part. We're questioning the autographs, and we have a bazillion different colors and patterns and everything else for parallels. So what the hell are we actually, like, what is of significance anymore? What is the important stuff? Because it's almost like it's gotten too far out of hand and too far of a scope that there's really nothing that is actually important or special or significant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a valid question. That's kind of the reason, though, that I posed that question a second ago. I said a moment ago about the person who is so skilled that they can replicate it to the point that it's indistinguishable. Forget about experts. If you can fool the person whose signature it is, if you can get to that level of ability, well, so then, Eric, which is the real one? If the person who made the signature can't tell, the only way they could definitively tell you is if they physically, if it was like a unique one of a kind item, and they knew whether
like,
they held it in their hand or not.
Yeah.
But if I give you an 8x10 that I've signed 50,000 of over the course of my lifetime, and I hand you another 8x10 with the same thing, the auto looks good to me. It's my signature, but the auto looks good to me too.
Right. And
at that point, is it real?
Yeah, I mean, and you kind of touched on it, I guess, real quickly, is how much easier is it now? Maybe Brandon touched on it. I forget. I'm old. Concussions, etc. How much easier is it now with these guys who just scribble? Now, here is, everyone's seen this that watches because it sits on my desk. Here's a really, really nice Gretzky auto. I could not mimic that without lots of practice. If I was a clubhouse attendant, locker room attendant, that's going to take effort and time and etc. I got nothing but vintage guys here, but I can go get I think I have like a Charlie McAvoy sitting in a box over here. It's filthy.
I mean,
it's just filth, right? It's just filth. Like,
how hard is that? It's literally a JR with a 21.
Can't practice that 20 times on a piece of paper and then say, okay, Jason, I'm ready. Give me the pucks. Give me the 8x10s. Give me the sticker sheet. I practice 20 times to go, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. By the 20th one, you got that down. Okay. If you were not, like Carlos said, an artist with a skill, you're not doing that Gretzky without tons of repetition and practice. You could get that Robinson or that McAvoy or any of these bums today done in 20 attempts. And that's making making it even easier for these criminals to fraudulently put out fake autographs because the athletes themselves are making it so easy for them. Where in the past, you had to be a skilled forger or use a machine to get these guys' autographs to match. It took a talent, a criminal talent, but a talent. Now, any idiot, give me 20 attempts with a blue Sharpie, I can get that Robinson just like him. And it's making it easier for the criminals to screw us over.
And to go further on it, we talked earlier, what is the easiest way actually to do it without getting caught or without being questioned? The cheaper items.
Right.
And the cheaper items are likely going to be of players that have a significant amount of stuff already out on the market. They're getting paid less probably to sign for the manufacturers. And so therefore they probably give less shits about what their autograph looks like because they're signing so much. So it's all twofold. Like it's just a compounding issue.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's kind of finalize it on this. So we'll do two things, kind of close off. So now I'm bringing it full circle to what I was talking about a little earlier, and I'm going to ask the question again. A lot of this comes down to, it goes back to a lot of the epicenter of hobby sins always come back to the money. It's always about the money. That's the bottom line. A lot of the stuff. That's how you come up. As long as there is a financial incentive, that gives you plenty of incentive for fraud. When cards are altered, why? Money. When cards are trimmed, why? Money.
Money.
When things are done a certain way, when you manufacture and you replicate a slab, why would you do that? Money. Why would you replicate a sticker for authentication? Money. Fake autographs? Money. If it's not worth anything, no one's going to bother, right? That's always the final question. So now, but let me kind of pose a twofold question. First part, going back to what we were talking about with the whole CD thing. I gave you the example with this specific one where that came as part of a thing. In this case, there was no premium to it. As Eric said, there's a gamble to it. I'm a fan, but at the same time, it was more like when I bought the CD, I wanted the CD either way. And it was retail price. I was basically paying, retail price through it. If you happen to get the autograph version of it, that's great. But the autograph has sat in here the whole time. Lately, I just pulled it out of the digipack. It's been in here. This is 2011. I've had this for 14 years. I barely look at it. It doesn't really make a difference to me one way or the other, but I know it's there. It was part of the thing that I got at the time. However, I didn't pay any premium for this. And if I hadn't gotten the autograph version of it, I still have the CD, and that's what I bought for. I understand where if somebody pays for something and they're specifically asking for an autograph version of it and they're paying a premium for it, so I have the luxury, in my case, of being able to live in ignorant bliss here. Because if it's not a good autograph, Brandon, I didn't pay a dime extra for it. I still have the CD, which is really what I paid for. I paid for the CD. And if it happened to have an autograph in it, well then cool, but I wasn't counting on it because I wasn't guaranteed it and it wasn't promised to me. I got what I got.
To answer the question you had earlier about this,
yes.
And I said I wanted to go a step further on Eric's point because he said people might not have bought it if there wasn't a chance at getting the autograph. I want to say it is important. It's very important because you may not be the end user. Now, if you're the end user, in your case, you've had it all this time, you didn't care one way or the other, you just wanted the album. No, it doesn't really matter. It was a bonus for you. If it's real, great. If not, whatever, right?
Correct. Exactly. Yep.
But what if you wanted to sell it later on? Or what if people bought it, they tried to go on and get early so they could get one so they could sell it or whatever, and then they're going to go download it and on iTunes or whatever. Then it becomes an issue because let's say it's like the ones I had here in the example, and it starts spread everywhere and everybody's, figured out, oh, they're auto pen. Well, that just kills all chances of really people wanting it. And, you might not even be able to get it. If somebody wants the album, you might be able to sell what you paid for, but you might not even be able to get that. So, there's going to be an end user to it. And if somebody's like you may not have paid the premium when you ordered it, but if it goes, further along, somebody's going to assume the autograph is real and pay a premium up on that. So I do think it's important just for the transparency's sake, just for the sake of knowing, and just for the sake of, the end user of the market.
Sure, I think that's fair. So let me kind of ask the other question then. So that was one thing. Again, we use that specific example, but I want to hear from the chat and also folks in the comment section. Let us know, agree, disagree, however you feel about it. I'm curious. But kind of my second question then is, so first I'll make the statement that this revelation and this headline and everything, while obviously significant, it doesn't really change my collecting business at all. There are certain ones that I've been comfortable with over the years. I'm probably still comfortable with it unless I've got a good reason not to be. On a lot of these items, I've been able to kind of have, especially if I'm buying autographs of people that I've already had a ton of autographs from, including signed in front of me. So if I actually have samples that I can say have been signed in front of me, it makes me a lot more comfortable, given that. But also, I'm not spending thousands of dollars on any pieces. So I think this is an important point. On anything that I am buying, it's not my cost is relatively low relative to the thing because I'm not paying any crazy premium on it. I do collect autographs of my players and all that, but at the same time, at a certain point, I've got enough of them, so I'm not really impacted on it that way. So kind of a twofold question. First of all, do you think there's any impact from the way you will approach it? Eric's would be an interesting case as well, because obviously, he could get an autograph. It's something that's done in the store, and if he gets it signed in person, then whatever, who cares? Do you think it leads you or anybody else down to wanting to have the in-person one? Does it direct people maybe more into that to give themselves that assurance of being physically present when it's signed? That way, you don't have to worry about the representative. You've got it covered. It's right in front of your face. But the other side of it as well, the second kind of layer to that question is, should that really put a cooling effect on it? Because it doesn't matter how big the headline is. We know the hobby tends to forget. The hobby has kind of quick amnesia on this. Does this even make it? Does this even make it a couple of weeks past the National? After, Ken Golden lights himself on fire at the National for the king of collectibles, the Golden Touch. Are we even going to remember this, Brandon? Are we even going to remember it past that?
So I'll let Eric go last because he is more connected to this. As far as affecting me personally, I can only think of 2 items that I own memorabilia wise that I didn't get personally signed. I'm not like, I have some jerseys. The cleats back there on the shelf are signed. I have a bat that you can't see. Everything I have except for 2 jerseys. One was given to me as a gift, and the other one we bought in Chantilly. It got thrown in with a deal on some bobbleheads I bought for the wife. Everything else memorabilia wise, I've gotten personally done. So as far as affecting the way I go about that side of things, it won't, because I'm not, I'm not real big on that stuff. And if it's something I want, I would just more prefer, it's more personable to get it myself. Card wise, I stated a long time ago, early on doing videos on YouTube, that I wasn't really too big on autographs. I do have some, obviously, but I've always had that question mark of their legitimacy. Okay. And, I think we're always going to have that. Like you said earlier, unless we get it done right in front of us, there's no way that we know whether or not it's real. So, I'm going to stick to collecting the people and the team and everything, the players that I collect, and just have to put that fake smile on my face and believe that, whatever I'm purchasing is legitimate. And I'm not spending thousands on stuff anymore or anything like that. So that takes some of the risk out of it. So yeah, I mean, overall, I don't see that it's going to change much for me on my approach. Now, to your point of the hobby forgetting, The interesting part to it that I will be curious to see, obviously, there's still details that'll likely come out before we know the full impacts of it or the full scope of it. We talked about the numbers thing. Eric's already said there's people coming in, questioning, all of that. Do we see autographed memorabilia be harder to sell because of the questioning? And if that becomes the case, does it start devaluing it because people will start putting it on clearance or sale or whatever to move it? But I think a bigger thing is this isn't the first time the FBI has been involved in something like this. Is this a next step to possibly having some sort of regulation come in? Because, if it does become a $350 million operation or something like that, that's not small ball. And you would think that they would start wanting to poke their head around a little bit and try to put the clamps down on some of the BS that goes on. So I think that's a more interesting part to it. How far does it push us closer to regulation?
Okay. So before you go, Eric, I got a kind of a follow-up question. I hear what you're saying, but I'm kind of so two things that I kind of push back on. First one, I don't think we'll ever know the full scope of it, no matter what it is. There's just no way to know.
Yeah, we won't know the past,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we won't have any idea the full scope of it. That's my first thought. And my second thought of it is kind of, does there push regulation? My follow-up would be why. Even if it was 350 million, okay, sucks to be you guys. Well, unless the government can make money on it, why would they care?
That's the point. Like, to the what, $1 billion of industry that it is right now, to the levels of the gambling, with the breaks and all that stuff, and now you have an operation like this that sounds, seems to be pretty significant. If they start poking their nose around, and I can't say that they're dumb to not know the scope and the amount of money that's involved in it, but if they can find a way to get a piece of the pie, and I'm not even saying it'd be a bad thing. I don't like, having the rules to go by, especially in something that's supposed to be enjoyable, but it may not be a bad thing if it could help in some way solve some of the scandalous, what was that, rule number 3 or 4 on the sheet, Eric? Corruption. If we could clean some of that up, it might not be a bad thing.
Well, I guess, Scott, like I said, my question goes, and this will kind of go into you, Eric. So we have lived this long in this segment of the hobby, the memorabilia side of thing, with a certain amount of blissful ignorance. And that's despite Operation Bullpen. That's despite a bunch of different, that's despite there being an infinite number of fake Mickey Mantle autographs that have existed since forever. They're still out there.
I have one that I'm still curious about.
Yeah, they're still out, and they're still out there in volume. Like, they really are. They're out there in volume, despite all that. So again, I'm just taking your hypothetical. Okay, so there was some kind of regulation or something. It's like, oh, Eric, now we're really, really, really sure. Now all the autographs are good. Wait, they were spending all this much money on it before. And now they know that they've been ripped off. So if some of these memorabilia collectors have been ripped off in this volume, does again, hypothetically, does regulation after the fact make you suddenly inclined to go back in the market when you've been successfully burned? Like, oh yeah, well now I'm really sure. Well, you were sure before. So I don't think, the reason I say this, the reason I pose this question, I don't think regulation would make anyone any more inclined to enter into the space than they were before. I think the average rank and file person already has a certain amount of either trust or not trust in it. I think stuff like this will make some people distrustful, for sure. But I don't think suddenly saying, okay, well, now we've got the stamp of approval. What do you base your stamp of approval? We just talked about the challenges at the very beginning. What is the regulation for? But this sticker is like totally legit. Okay, cool. And I'm no more inclined to buy the thing than I was before. Or no, if I'm not inclined because of the result of this, you saying, oh, well, I'm really sure. Again, what's the government's cut in this? Am I supposed to pay them for something? Like, where does the money come in? Because there's got to be money in it. Otherwise, why, Eric? Otherwise, why do we care? Legal. You can do the legal proceedings. You can be like, oh, well, if we catch you, then we'll throw you in jail. Okay, fair enough. But those are the rules already existing, Eric. That already falls under fraud. We don't have to invent new rules. We already have rules technically for that. So it's just enforcing the existing rules.
Listen, I'm listening to you, and I agree with you completely. And you know, I can't think of one thing where that got better because government got involved. Laws need to be on the books, and rules need to be followed, and consequences need to be given out when those rules are broken.
But
I don't need government. I don't need the United States of America in this room looking at my autographs or somehow taxing me extra because they decide that it's, you know, this.
but that's the problem, though. So you're saying there's rules set in place and they're not followed, right?
It's enforcement, yeah.
Exactly. Because I can tell you there's some simple, and I'm not going to call it out here, but there are some simple, silly, innocent things that are done all the time that are actually against the law. There is the Tops Now 101s that they call sweepstakes and stuff. Those are technically against the law, but they're not enforced. So there's a lot of things that there is laws for, but we have no enforcement for it. I'm not saying we got to go rewrite the whole thing and put it in the government's hands and let them control it all, but if we could clean it up some.
Mm-hmm. I get you, but I think just I just think my key takeaway though, like, and I'm just saying this in general, keeping it very general. I think it's a zero-sum game. You can't have some. You either have it all or you have none. Because there is no kind of middle ground there. I think, again, going back to what I said a moment ago, the idea of regulation, there is no regulation. There is enforcement of the existing, because fraud is fraud. If you misrepresent something, you sell me something that is not what it is, that's fraud. I don't need to invent a new law for that. I already have it. I just have to enforce it. I have to say, we've caught you, it's this amount, blah, 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 jail time, fines, or whatever. Those rules are already on the books. You're not going to have a new agency created for this because they're not going to, unless there is some financial incentive in it. Like, unless they can make some new money out of it. But what's the new money? The fines or whatever, it's already on the books if you want to enforce it. And if you catch them, okay, so you've caught the fake autograph guys. Now what? Because you're also going to, it won't stop there. You then have to add some other layer to it. So Sports World is now going to have a representative who will be there all the time. Well, they're going to have to pay for that. That's going to be included in it. And now all those certifications they have are going to be run through some kind of, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, we have either licensed to sell memorabilia.
Something to that effect. That would be an example.
A 12-hour training course once a year to be recertified at a cost of $1,000 to the U.S. government. And at any time, they can come in and they want all the information of what we've sold. And, you know, that's what that looks like. And that's unacceptable. So,
yeah. So I'm just looking at it from perspective. I'm not being overly cynical here. I'm just looking at it like it's like a business. They're sitting there going like, okay, so what's the profitability for us? So the only way to make it more profitable is okay. But if as soon as I extend myself over there, now you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. You're all the way in. You know, now you're not getting off easy. It was just a little bit of interference. You're getting the whole thing. Again, we'll see. But I just don't think I think it'll blow over faster. Honestly, just my opinion is I think it'll blow over faster. I don't care if it's 350 million. I don't care if it's 3.5 billion. I don't think there's a number big enough that you can show me that will actually prompt action at the higher level. I think where you'll see the difference is maybe the rank and file person will just be less trusting, and then they won't buy into it, which in turn means there will be less interest to bring those autograph signers in. So that's where you'll see some trickle down effect. But then if that happens and the prices start to drop, then a lot of people won't worry about it. Well, yeah, that'll kind of take care of itself a little bit to a point until you talk about then they'll just start forging the dead guys. Because there's still money to be made in there. There's not new signings for the dead guys.
Gets done all the time.
Yeah. And the dead guys won't dispute you. They're dead.
You know how many times people have brought in something from somebody who's been dead for, 50 years and it's in like Sharpie. And it's like, this pen didn't exist when this person was alive.
But not with that attitude, Eric.
So are you an idiot or are you a criminal? Which one? It's like, you obviously we don't say that to them, but in my head, I really want to ask
I
them,
think your lack of faith that it could be both, Eric. I
are
find
you
that
an
disturbing.
idiot or a criminal? Which one do you want me to call you? Because
But
Babe Ruth didn't have a fucking Sharpie.
the thing is, though, coming into a shop, y'all are going to know that, but you would not believe the amount of people that can't even identify the little like giveaway baseballs that
Mhm.
have the printed
Oh, dude,
autographs, the commemorative
all,
balls.
all
Yes,
the time,
that's
all the time, all the time. Hey,
and that's why these people can get away with it.
Yeah, I have, I have an autographed baseball from everybody from the '04 World Series Red Sox team. Okay. Yeah, that was the souvenir for like $10 out of the souvenir shop. Those aren't real.
Yeah.
No, my father told me it was. All right, well,
Yeah.
we're back to that.
If people still try to sell a Honus Wagner T206 that says reprint on the back, the word reprint is right there, and they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I have very little confidence, Brandon. Like I'd love to not finish the episode on like a, and by the way, if you're listening, on Friday you'll hear it all the time. Eric, and you can attest to this. I have a certain tone when I'm being condescending and mocking.
Yeah.
This is more like I'm just laying it out. Like I'm just saying the words. Yeah.
Rule 1 and 2, folks. Rule 1 and 2.
Yeah. But like I said, and Eric can attest to this, he's heard that tone a million times. I'm not even being condescending right now. I'm simply just stating as a matter of course. It's like, if there are people there who can't be bothered to read the back of the card to see that it says the word reprint, and if they can't even get that far, how do you expect that they're going to be able to? They're all the red flags in the world could be right in front of their face, flashing, and they still go through. Well, those people are going to get ripped off no matter who's trying to prevent it. Like, unless you eliminate every fake piece of memorabilia in existence, I'm sure they find a way to get themselves ripped off.
You know what would be something interesting? And this doesn't go on the autograph side of things.
Sure.
But you could throw autographs into it. But a card that you see constantly, the 86 Flair Jordan, I am very curious how much money the grading companies make a year just off of rejecting fake 86 Flair.
Yeah, it's just telling them no good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they probably make a killing just sending them back.
It's free money for them at that point because a lot of times the fakes are really obvious. Like it's a piece of cake. They don't have to be experts. They're like, dude, this is not even close.
We get those in all the time too. We get the big cards. We get the Gretzky rookies, the Orr rookies, the Jordan rookies, you name it. All right, the Mantle rookies, all fake. Just does it takes
Gouty Ruth.
It takes 3 seconds to look at it and go, well, they didn't use this card material in 1951. There's no gloss on this Jordan rookie. I mean, whatever, and it's like people are heartbroken because either, they've been holding on to this for years, thinking that it was going to be worth money. They maybe recently spent lots of money on it and are trying to flip it. And now we're telling them that the $300 they spent they got conned. I mean, we got to give people bad news all the time. And I feel bad. I really do. That they come in with these I got a Jordan rookie and it's like, I don't get excited. I go, let me see it. Like, okay, let me see it. And it's like, no, he's wearing Converse, I mean, whatever, something on it. It's like, no, look right there. That proves that it's not real,
Mm-hmm. Right.
All the time.
Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. But before we go, so Eric, you get the last word here on this one. So we gave kind of our angle on it. Brandon gave his as well. Obviously, you work in a shop where they do a lot of signings. We already gave the overlapping. My statement stands. The only way I can ever tell you with any definitiveness that an autograph is good is if you personally witness it. and it's directly handed in your hands. That is the only way we can be 100.0%.
100%. Yep.
Anything short of that, we're under 100. I don't care if it's your best friend for life who did it for you. That's 99.9%. Like, I'm not saying it's not super high, but it's 100% is if you sign in front of your face, slid back to the end of the table, in your hands now, take it home. That's 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, and real quick, just because this is Eric's time.
Go ahead.
If it's not done in front of you, it's 100%. It's not 100%, right?
Yep.
Take the Tom Brady autographs, Eric. He did not do them in front of your friend. And Beckett said, no, I'll be damned, that is not Tom Brady's autograph. You see what happened? They weren't done in front of him.
That's right. But Tom was in the building, and supposedly he's the one that signed them, but we still think he did it, but he just was being an asshole and ruined that stuff on purpose. So yeah, he's just a tool bag. But that's a whole nother story. So
Eric, this one's your, so this is the last word for you on this one. Obviously, card shop and everything, memorabilia, the questions that I asked, does it change anything about what you're doing? Or do you think that this will linger for a while, or it will blow over? To what degree? Floor is yours.
I think, Joe, I don't think it's going to affect us too much. I think our reputation is so strong. I think the fact that we have athletes coming in all the time, shows people. And I think that the average customer that we have, mom comes in to buy Junior a Tom Brady 8x10 to hang in his room. She does not know the first thing about this scandal, autograph collecting, the hobby, nothing. Junior likes Tom Brady. It's his birthday. She wants to get him a 8x10 autograph Tom Brady. That's the majority of what we have. Okay. That's not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
does it funnel more people towards being physically present as opposed to buying the stuff that's already there?
Say that again, just so I
does it basically motivate more people to capitalize on the in-person signings and say, you know what, I want the thing, you know what, I'll go there myself. I'll go there and I'll be present. I'll pay my money. The person will be right in front of me. Slide me the item across the table, and I go home with it right there and then.
I think that's what collectors should do. Collectors like myself, who everything in this room is signed, that's what they should be doing. But I still say that, a slight majority, I guess, I don't know, you can't say vast and slight, but a large portion of our business are our mom and dads coming in with no knowledge of this hobby. They don't collect, and they're picking something up for someone else. And they're trusting us. Sometimes they ask questions, and that's when we take the phones out and we go, yeah, well, here's, me and Jim Rice, here's me and Louis Tion, here's me and Ray Bork, here's, on and on and on and on and on. And, we have gone as far as calling the athlete for a big purchase. And if we have a really, really good relationship with the athlete, we go, hold on, let's see if he's available. And we've had the athlete talk to the customer, which, blows their mind and makes their day. And they quickly start handing over the money, not every shop can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are a collector, as I am, as Carlos said, no matter how reputable the shop is, as ours is, you're only going to have 100% comfortability by handing that 8x10 across the table, having the athlete sign it, and having them slide it back over to you.
One quick question, Eric. we've had the discussion a lot with when shows come up and prices of signings and all of that. Does this change your viewpoint and make the prices of these in-person signings more relevant now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess as if everything was fair and made sense, which of course, number 8, thou shalt not apply logic to the hobby. If everything was fair and logical, we should raise our prices and people should gladly come in and pay us even more money on Sunday to meet Jeremy Swayman and to get autographs from him after this scandal, right? That would make the most sense. That they should be lining up from miles, down the road and paying, just throwing money at us to get it done themselves and going home and feeling good about it. But I don't. Again, I think I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, we should be able to raise prices right now. Here's an example, real quick. All right, this is something I didn't show earlier. It's a card that came in with that collection that we just came, and it's a Guy Lafleur personalized in-person autograph card. Okay, I know Guy Lafleur's autograph. I saw this. I'm like, that's 100%. It's a really nice one. He wasn't rushed. You can make out the number 10. It's really nice. When I buy stuff from the shop, I don't want to screw over my boss. I go and do research. I go on eBay. I look at sold items. All the in-person Guy Lafleur cards like this, right, that were done. Here, Guy, would you sign this for me? There was on eBay sold items for like $2.05, $4, $5, $6. This is Guy freaking Lafleur. $6, $5. The cheapest one, just like this, was $2 and something cents. No cert sticker, blah, blah, blah. You get something from Upper Deck that says this item was signed and guaranteed. Now you're talking real money. So somebody waited in line, went to a shop, went to a signing, went to a convention, paid a crap load of money, met Guy Lafleur. Guy signed this. Maybe they took a picture with them. They were 100% guaranteed that their autograph was real. We in the hobby believe this is worth $2.05. The Upper Deck card, which we talked about earlier, that we cannot guarantee is 100%, is going to go for $100. That's the hobby.
Indeed.
So it doesn't matter that in the description, if I put this on eBay, if I had a picture with me and Guy, I had a ticket from the show, a video of him signing it, blah, 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 it would still be $2.05. And the Upper Deck one would be $100. That is on a sticker that he signed, a month before his death, and did like 1,000 sticker sheets. And maybe he did it, or maybe somebody in his family did it, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's how it works.
Indeed. On that bombshell. So you see, Brandon, I felt like we had plenty of meat on that bone. Like there was a lot that we could go into, and we barely touched the surface because hopefully you all got that sense, though. There's a lot of nuance.
Talk about.
There's a lot of nuance here. And we tried to touch on, that's why, Brandon, I didn't want to spend too much time on any one thing because we knew we could go in a million different directions. But hopefully you got a sense of it. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I am going to say you take occasions like this seriously from the perspective that it should remind you, it should be a reminder to do your diligence, to do your homework, and do all that, all the boring stuff everybody tells you to do every time. But that was the case before. It hasn't changed. Nothing. My point earlier was that nothing has changed for me that I didn't believe prior. All of my thoughts and feelings on the way this is done and the way this works, and this versus this versus all these things, none of that has changed, because that has been the case as long as I've been in the hobby. It's always been like that. If you sign it in person, you personally have it signed. That's the only way you can have that 100% assurance. Everything else is, again, I read you the Upper Deck one. This one's in the game. Brian Price, who has good reputation, has done a lot of great stuff in it. On the back, all it says is, game used Mike Modano Dallas Star jersey, and authentic Mike Modano autograph. The authenticity of his autograph is guaranteed by In the Game Incorporated. That's it. We don't know when exactly.
I trust Brian Price until we find out he
This
puts
is
a
something-
manifesto and says, I screwed you all.
This would be something fun or not fun, but we need to try to see if we can get an answer. They guarantee it, but what are they guaranteeing you? What if it's proven or found out that it's not real?
Right.
What do you get in return? What's your guarantee?
Yeah. Do you give me money? When Luca's mother goes, yeah, it was me. Do all those people who paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to get those cards, do they send them back into whoever the hell it was, Panini, and say, I want my money back? Here's my receipt from eBay.
That would be a fun thing to find out.
I paid $6,000 for this, and on the back of the card it says guarantee. And she just went on national TV and said, "Yeah, I signed all this stuff. Where's my money?" Guarantee. They ain't paying you.
We got to get Eric's lawyer on this.
Lawyer.
That's all I'm saying. Got to get on there. Anyway, I would love to get, we always ask, but in this case, I think this topic has plenty of room if you want to go into it. Would love to get some thoughts from the comment section on any of it. You can take any of the directions of it, take the angle, agree with us, disagree with us, whatever. But I want you to explain, tell us why. Whatever it is.
Dare disagree with me. Don't.
I kind of would disagree with Eric.
That'd
be my angle.
You even think about it.
And hashtag vote for George.
Yes, absolutely. I got to be honest with you, though. Fork. Fear the fork. Let's go.
Six Toe. The man's name is Six Toe. Come on.
I don't know. I think it's more like 6'2". There's no E. I don't see an E.
It's Six Toe. Let's go.
Let's see about that. But anyway, so feel free to throw anything in the comment section. There's a lot of room there. There's a lot of angles that you can touch on and kind of get some thoughts on. So feel free. And then we'll be back. We'll have some more stuff to talk about next one. But this was obviously the big topic. And obviously the headline was big enough that it was worthwhile to have the discussion on it. And plenty of room. You see, we had a 6-hour live. This is like the old days, Eric. We had a 6-hour live stream. We barely touched this. And we still had plenty left over.
I know. It was like the Friday, Sunday.
More videos coming up on the channel. Live streams. This week, we're back on the regular schedule. Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The longest running episodic, whatever it is, we don't know.
I don't know.
We just don't. We don't know. This is episode 137 of the BIC podcast in the books. Back on this one. For Brandon, Bobbles, and Ballcar's known associate of 540 Flips. For Eric, who's working on the autographs so that finally he can have all the boobiors he wants. All to himself. As many as he wants on anything he wants.
Remember, guys, he has pictures with the players. Just to remember.
He does. Even some of them are just janitors that he thinks are the player. That's how crazy it is. It goes deep. This conspiracy runs deep. Eric Sanderson Dorr, you can send all your autograph related questions and complaints. That's it for this. We'll catch you in the next one.